from the NCR and NEUST. We have a lot actually.
That's amazing.
We also have SDO from Pasay City. Good morning, educators. Oh, we have from Cebu. They are all coming in. From Ilocos Norte as well. Oriental Mindaro. We have from Oriental, Muntinlupa, Rizal. And of course, Region 1, La Union. And we have from Nueva Vizcaya, Region 2. Alaminos City. And Rizal Technology University. Cotabato State University, Bulacan. We have a lot. Good morning, participants, and we are actually inviting others as well. You may once again you may share this webinar through the Facebook page. You can share the post of our Pan Pacific University official page and the Dr. Card Balira official page.
That's right, partner. I also noticed there is one coming from Hong Kong and Tuguegarao City. Wow. So it's kind of like we're worldwide broadcasting. This is going to be more interesting. What else? Yeah, Philippines. So dominantly, I see coming from the Philippines so far. So we're going to wait for more participants joining in, coming from different countries. I believe the class of Mr. Bardos will also be joining, if I heard that right, in the previous meeting. So all the way from the other country. There we go. Who else? So Yusek will be joining us around 10, right, partner?
Yes, Ma'am Judy. So for this, while waiting for the others, let us go ahead and watch the Pan Pacific University video loop.
I think our team is preparing the PowerPoint, if I'm not mistaken, or they're probably having some challenge with technical stuff. But let's see. Oh, there you go.
So once again, to our dear participants, this webinar is being organized by the EM 107 class of Pan Pacific University Graduate School, of course, headed by our professor, Mr. Virgo Lopez, who is here with us right now. And with the support of our dean, the Dr. Engelbert Pasek, and our director, Dr. Card Balita.
All right, Ms. Judith and Ma'am Quizelle, probably we would also like to ask our participants their expectations for today's webinar. Kindly also comment your, let's say, possible, aspirations or let's say concerns that you would like to be attended to. Specifically, this is focused on monitoring and evaluation in the ASEAN countries like Indonesia, Thailand, and Singapore, of course.
Yep, that is correct. So our dear participants who are currently able to join us in this Zoom meeting room, we highly encourage you guys to put in your comments, expectations, and hopes. What are you looking up to on this webinar program that we're going to start in a few? Just drop your comment or questions or any concerns. We would appreciate it.
All right, and probably we can also engage our three discussants. Ibo Draga from Indonesia. May we spotlight Ibo? Good morning, Ibo. And then we have
good morning.
We have Ma'am, of course, Christina, and of course from Thailand we would be having Sir Don J. So Ibo Draga and Ma'am Christina, it has been a while. If we're going to recall from last year, if I'm not mistaken, Ma'am Christina and Ma'am Draga, or Ibo, if my memory serves me right, we have had our ASEAN conversation in July last year.
Is it that long?
Yes, Ibo, it has been
Oh
like,
my
yeah.
goodness.
And probably what we can will recall from the conversation, Ibo, if we can share to our participants now.
Well, I always remember one thing from one of our children participant that she said that new normal is not normal. That is, I always remember that coming from a student as young as 5th grade, I think she's 5th grade, yeah,
Yeah.
elementary, and
Yes.
then she
Mm.
mentioned one word saying that the new normal is not normal for her because she cannot go to school.
Yes.
So that is the thing that I remember, and it's very important to consider for all of us as educators.
Mhm. And I think that is from HFSE, right, Ma'am Christina? You remember one of your
Yes.
pupils?
Yeah, one of our students, Claire.
Mhm.
That's true. Actually, in terms of, it was a very good webinar. I know it was a series of webinars from educators down to parents and then later on students. It was very good to get all perspectives from different points of views, different people, because as educators, we tend to have our own blind sides. We don't see everything, the whole picture. So it's important that we engage each and every stakeholder in our school. So it was very good that you're organizing another webinar like this, and thank you for always having us in mind. We'll do our best to share our own practices.
Mhm.
Yeah. So thank you, Mr. Virgo.
All right. And also from Sir Donji, one of his students as well, Plan. And I think he was able to convince our audience last time about the idea of the support and the assistance, and of course, the teachers becoming more effective in online education. Do you remember that, Sir Donji?
Yes, and to give you some update about plan, our school is top three before, and then now he moved to the first school. I mean, like the top one high school here in Thailand. So I'm gonna miss that boy. Yeah, he's my like sidekick, like always with me every time. Like he wants to make some projects related to technology.
Mhm. Ibu and Ma'am Christina and Sir Donji, probably we would like to have an update because in the Philippines, of course, the cases of COVID-19 are still increasing. What about in your respective countries now? Ibu, in Indonesia, how is it?
In Indonesia, it's actually it's getting stable, but the more important things, people are more aware of what to do. Unlike before, everybody seems to be panicking and then very depressing. But now I think they come to terms whereby our president also says that be friendly with the COVID, so that you can you have the open mind how to treat it and how to prevent yourself from getting sick, and if you get sick, and then how to treat it yourself. So I think more and more people now aware in Indonesia how to keep themselves, and although the restriction is not everybody observe, yeah, especially in the out of big cities. But in the big cities, everybody is so disciplined, and they are worried about themselves, so they are very disciplined about the COVID, how to prevent themselves from, and the number of the sick people also actually is increasing, but there are more treatment either by themselves or in the hospital. So it's not like not like before. It's a bit calm now
All right,
and
that's good to
acceptable.
Okay. What about in Singapore, Ma'am Christina, with the advancements of your technology and of course your strategic solution in the country? How is it so far?
Yes. Well, thank God, everything is back to normal. I would say, the face-to-face learning has already started since June last year, in fact. So students went back to school as per normal. They're having their lessons in classes. A few schools are still employing some blended learning approach, but I would say 99% of the schools are already back on site. Yeah. So of course, this doesn't also prevent or yeah, prevent people from making sure that the safe management measures are implemented and adhered to. So Singaporeans are very disciplinarian, and the government is also very much supportive, and the government is doing its very best to ensure that the people are well taken care of. Yeah, and of course we are praying for all the other countries, including the Philippines, of course, where we are from as well. And we are from our school, we are doing our best to also help out in our own little way to provide assistance to some schools or even students struggling because of the effects of the pandemic. So it's our responsibility to the community as well. Yeah.
Mhm. That's good to know, Ma'am Christina. And of course, before we go to our video loops, Sir Donji, even during our discussion from last year, you've already started your limited face-to-face. How about now?
Um, Now we go back to home, work from home. It's been 2 weeks that we were being asked to stay at home, and then because the COVID cases here is rising up, so they're using nowadays they're using gymnasiums and hotel conference rooms for the uh, positive case, a positive person who get the COVID. And then yeah, actually in IAE we have a lot of postponed activities like the 3 days workshop, the graduation of all the Filipino teachers who studying diploma in teacher education here. It has been postponed, and the mock board exam that we're supposed to have has been postponed. So there's a lot of activities that has been postponed, and yeah, we go back to work from home,
Mhm.
and we don't know uh, when will the situation gets better.
Mhm.
So I hope everything gets better. But this is the good thing. Thai people rather are very they follow guidelines. You cannot enter any establishments in here in Thailand if you will not wear mask. And all the establishments before you get inside, they have their own alcohols and uh, how do you call that, alcohols and protections from your from COVID or something. And then people are still roaming around. Stores are still open, restaurants are still open, though there are limited time that they cannot entertain like alcohols on people gonna drink. But still, people are wearing masks when they get inside, and they follow. They follow.
All right. That's good to know, Sir Donji. But the good thing is we can always have these virtual conferences to learn from each other. And good news, we are already full in the Zoom, and I think we are ready to begin our webinar. Ma'am Judith, back to you. Thank you to our discussants. We'll be hearing from them again later on.
All right, there you have it. So hello, everyone. As we start admitting participants for our event this morning, we would like you to please pay attention to the screen share with the guidelines for our webinar. All right, so just a quick guide on how to change your participant name in Zoom. Kindly follow this format. All right, so kindly put in your 3-letter country code abbreviation, your institution, then followed by your full name. So for example, if you're in the Philippines, just put in PHL, which stands for Philippines. For Indonesia, just put in IDN. For Thailand, just put in THA, and then followed by your institution that you belong with currently, and then followed by your full name. All right, and then to get it done, okay, so to get it done, let's go ahead and get started. Please log on to your Zoom account. Of course, we are all logged on to the Zoom meeting room. And then you will see different buttons down below. So just click on participants, move your cursor over to your name, okay? Once you see your name, it's gonna be highlighted. You just have to click on more. If you don't see more button, just click on the right arrow, the arrow going to the right rather, and then you'll see rename. So there you go. You'll be able to change or update your name.
That is absolutely correct, partner. And of course, for additional guidelines, we have to ensure that we have a stable internet connection. Please mute your microphone as well and off your camera to lessen the distraction during the event. And for all your concerns, comments, and questions, you may drop it out in our chat box or also in the comment section of our FB pages. And please observe webinar netiquette. And at the same time, once again, this Zoom can only accommodate 300 participants. But if we still have friends out there who want to join, they can actually watch us through the official Facebook page of Pan Pacific University and Dr. Carl Ibarita. Everyone does as a webinar, which it is intended for us to learn to share and at the same time share to learn. Good morning, everyone. And here's the video loop of our Pan Pacific University for us to be familiarized about our university.
All right, so thank you, Ma'am Rizel, for the friendly reminders for us. Okay, so as we move forward, we'd love to acknowledge our speakers, reactors, and participants once again from different educational settings and countries. Hello, everyone. We are blessed today to have our keynote speaker as well. He'll be joining us, the Philippine DepEd Undersecretary for Curriculum and Instruction, no other than Sir Diosdado M. San Antonio. All right, we're gonna wait for our technical team for the video loop one more time. Thank you.
Pan Pacific University, the total university.
A quarter of a century's worth of history and a decade of purpose-driven transformation. Powered by infrastructure developments in response to growth and advancements in teaching modalities. Guided by quality in management systems that outline target outcomes and identify the means to enable continuing improvement. Institutional growth that continue to expand and reach through linkages that strengthen progress in learning and in research. Coupled with expansion. With different course offerings. This is the Pan Pacific University, North Philippines.
All right, what a great video presentation. We appreciate that to our dear technical team. So while waiting, let's have the next presentation. Or hold on. Partner, can we continue with the, hold on just one moment. Let's see. Anyway, let's go ahead and move forward. We would love to acknowledge our speakers first. I believe they're already in the Zoom meeting room. They've been with us actually. Thank you. We really appreciate your precious time. To our reactors as well, participants from different educational settings and countries. Hello, everyone. You can actually, open your camera as well so that we can see you guys. We would love to see your face virtually. And then you can also utilize our chat window, or I'm sorry, the comment section. Just put in whatever concerns you have or any possible questions you might have along the way when we will have the proper discussion later on. Thank you, guys.
And we would also like to acknowledge the presence of our keynote speaker, no other than the DepEd Undersecretary for Curriculum and Instruction, Sir Antonio Diosdado M. San Antonio. Our technical team, can we have the spotlight to our keynote speaker, please?
All right, Ma'am Rizal.
A stands for Agility Pivots Education by changing strategies that are anchored on the same vision. S for me is the strategy should recognize that technology are tools with teachers as facilitators. E stands for enrich the 21st century skills through an omni-model learning experience that optimizes what is available. A to B is the authentic, learner-centric education is the best opportunity there is in the new educational paradigm. Authentic, applicable, useful, relevant, meaningful, normal, old or new is defined by us.
We are in difficult times. People call this the new normal in basic education. But we feel comfortable and at ease knowing that our partners in education, like Dr. Carl Balita and his team, are finding ways to enable our fellow teachers to be ready with their new roles as basic educators in these trying times. We understand that new roles are being defined for all of us. Teachers, parents, school administrators will have to consider exploring new ways of doing things as we attempt to make ourselves able to deliver high quality basic education services even in trying times. So the first challenge for us fellow teachers is to make sure that the children, the youngsters under our care are motivated. I invite all of us to join me in a riot. As we perform new roles, let's be in a riot. And a riot is an acronym which talks about being respectful, being intentional in the things that we do, being optimistic, and trusting.
First, forget about best practices. The best practices that happened belong to the past. What we should be looking for are what are the better practices. Have a conscious lift of your mindset. Ask questions. They may be silly questions. There are also silly answers. Continue to ask questions because it's the way to open the mind. Next, number 3, curate information. Information here, information there, messenger here, Facebook here, radio, TV, all kinds of information. Just listen and then curate. Choose the information that help you choose the information that help you leave behind the past, because this is putting a chain to your new thoughts. After curating, sit down in small circles to digest. After that, to one corner, go to the mountains, reflect. Important for the new teacher to reflect. Do a personal reflection. The moment you do a personal reflection, you will be having your own discoveries. And when you discover, you've got to share. Share this. This is not a perfect world. Share. As you share, the ideas become perfect. We are more than deliverers. We are thinkers, and we've got to share our own thinking.
What are the challenges that you might be facing in order for us to carry this out, Ma'am Eden? The challenges to encounter as we facilitate the new normal.
The current perspective to facilitate education is really a major challenge to both public and private schools. Big schools who are blessed with better resources are trying their very best to make tremendous innovations using technology, while the majority have very limited resources. In the level of learning, I agree to Dr. Fuentes that survival is the name of the game, and a very loud shout out for funding. The gadgets, the connectivity and accessibility, as well as the learning models, the changing roles of the teachers and mentors, as well as the dramatic changing concept of educational institutions affects the level of learning environment.
Do you prefer the new normal, or would you rather go back to the old times as soon as possible? Why or why not?
My answer would be the old times, but better. Better meaning still taking proper precautions, and giving proper attention towards the mental health of the students. And this is because not everyone has a healthy learning environment at home. And yes, it may be better for a lot of people to have it online, since For some people, it may be more accessible, but for a lot of people, online isn't accessible at all. Help us find the link between real life and education for us to learn while we're at home. Just communicate with us while you educate us, and especially help us find the relevance of what you're teaching us in real life, because that's the best way for us to learn while we're at our own homes.
We don't have to change the basic educations. We just have to change the casing. We just have to change the hardware. The software is still remain the same, because education is about giving, make the students or make the children to learn something, to prepare something for themselves, to carry on their life, to do something in their life, or to be successful in their life.
The originality of the ideas. The teachers start to expose themselves how to create the original ideas, original planning, original activities in education, because it's very interesting for the new generation.
We have an omni-modal learning experience model training for our teachers in order for you to utilize all available resources, both online and offline, for you to be certified as certified omni-modal digital teachers.
So the first lesson that we learned from this experience is to always be vigilant and observe what is happening around us. So we are a part of a bigger community, and whether we like it or not, anything that happens around us will have an impact on our lives. We need to act upon it. The lesson number 2 here is take action. This leads to the third lesson that we learned here, keep experimenting. Sure, we can always benchmark our steps and measures against other schools and what other countries have done so far. Collaboration will also enable us to find another way, provide a structure to begin with, which might benefit our students in the long run. The main characters are our teachers and their creativity, their dedication, our team's efficiency and commitment, our parents' hard work and support, our students' desire to learn. These are the things that make our story and, of course, our leaders' vision. Why? Because every situation is unique, and that is the reason why there is always a need to constantly evaluate our measures. However, our attitude as school leaders will always be important to set the tone for safety, for well-being and health of the entire school community.
I have 3 comparisons to share. Leading, parenting, and teaching are all of the same role. For the teachers, the students, and for the parents, their children. Education is the key to success in life. All of us are teachers. So we need to make a lasting impact in the lives of our students. And we need to believe that every child can succeed, one happy family at a time.
I believe collaboration of school, teachers, parent, and learner are the key to be successful in assisting our child in learning at home. For parent and learner, work out a daily schedule with our child, guide our child in settling goals and scheduling tasks. By doing all this, our child will develop the valuable skills of time management, self-discipline, resilience.
Listen, learn from COVID-19 in educational perspective. The crisis has disrupted the education system, not just here, but also in other countries, and it has served as a wake-up call. And this time of crisis calls for greater public and private partnership in education, as COVID-19 has disrupted learning opportunities for students and brought to light the technological divide. And I think if this lesson is taken seriously, Thailand, the Philippines, and other countries can transform its educational landscape for better learning and educational opportunities for all.
We have different ways of teaching. We have different way of providing the lessons. So keep on learning, keep on experimenting, keep on learning, because what's best for others may not best for you. So find or look for the best option that would work for you and then for everybody.
It's our program, Collaboration for the Elimination of digital divide in the Philippines to give actually functional devices. So Filipinos, for example, can donate their old gadgets to any of the CBRC branches nationwide. So CBRC, our company, has 120 branches in the entire country. And so we are open to accepting donations from private sectors or from individuals who have gadgets or no longer, or they don't like it anymore, but still functional, or we can repair them. We can accept them so that we can give to the students, ALS students of Tondo, Manila.
This whole thing has nudged us to change, and it has led us into surprising innovations. So people have developed newer apps. You have an app to study, to play, to eat, to order food, to socialize, to do everything. So this was basically pushed us to innovate and create more stuff. I think that we will be more prepared and we will come up with more innovations as to how to accept this as the new normal.
We really need some time in order to restructure our operation. Therefore, what we did is we closed down the centers for 1 month, no online classes, no physical classes. But I really took that particular time in order to restructure my operations. We tried to communicate to as many as possible, the parents, and actually it works. We do offer free trial lessons, at least for 1 or 2 lessons, so that the parents can see how the lesson is being conducted.
For our second quarter issue this year for 2020 is our Education in the New Normal ASEAN edition.
So let's have a transformative education and a transformative experience so that this pandemic in the future will be looked back and say, thank you that there was COVID, because it accelerated the use of Industry 4.0 in education. And thank you that we are closer, even virtually, we have been closer to our family, because we're never this close to our family than ever before. Our parents never had time as much as we have right now. And we never had the chance to even talk with our children as much as we do now. Because now the new school is not the building to go to every day, but the new school is the same home where our forefathers have learned from each other. Let's not believe that learning happens virtually. Learning could happen at home, but it takes a lot of choices. It takes a lot of chances so that we can make this change. So we have a choice to take the chance to bring about change.
And there we have it, ladies and gentlemen. The video that we just watched is actually the webinar that took place last year, organized by the same class and under Professor Virgo, in coordination also with the Pan Pacific University. Partner?
Wow, time flies so fast. It was already last year. I thought it was just last month. Just kidding. All right, so as we move forward, guys, we would love to acknowledge our speakers once again, reactors and participants from different educational settings and countries. Hello, everyone. So we're blessed today. I want to acknowledge one more time our keynote speaker, the Philippine Deputy Undersecretary for Curriculum and Instruction, Sergio Estado, and San Antonio. And also, we'd like to inform everyone that this webinar is being conducted through Zoom that has a maximum capacity of 300 participants. So you can surely watch us through the official, Facebook pages. And also the Pan Pacific University and CBRC public figure page. You can also share the learning that we will be having today to your friends by sharing the post. Thank you, everyone.
And of course, we have our panel of discussants all the way from Indonesia, the founding director of Bahar Hidayah Islamic International School, Ibu Draga Rangkuti. And all the way from Thailand, the Design, Calculation, and Technology faculty at Samson Wittayalai School, Sir Donji M. Bardos. And from Singapore, the school principal of Happy Family School of Excellence International School, Ma'am Cristina Bacolod Labrador. Good morning po.
Good morning. That's right, partner. We also have our panel of reactors from the EM 107 Masters of Arts in Education class, namely Miss Gleanne A. Etchen, Mr. Vincent Orino, Miss Irish May S. Galerio. And with us also, I believe he's in the Zoom meeting. If not, though, I still would like to acknowledge in advance the energetic director of the executive program, Pan Pacific University, no other than Dr. Carl Valita, our supportive dean of Pan Pacific Graduate School, Dr. Engelbert Pasag, and also, of course, the backbone of this event, as he is our professor of EM 107 class, Mr. Virgo C. Lopez. School leaders, educators, learners, and participants from the ASEAN region from all around the world.
And of course, a special mention as well to all our regional school leaders from the SDO in Pasay, Valenzuela. We also have from Region 12, from Cotabato, from Region 1, La Union. And we have seen a while ago, we have participants from Nueva Vizcaya, which is Region 2 and Tuguegarao City. So as of now, in behalf of our class, I would love to express our gratitude to everyone that we are present and with us today. So to officially start, let us all begin this webinar with a prayer to be led by Ms. Angelica Pagdalao, a MAID student, and to be followed by the singing of our national birth anthem.
Let's place ourselves in the presence of our God. Heavenly God, we thank you for this another morning that brings us new hope and joy. We are grateful that you are able to bring us new hope, even the toughest of times, especially this COVID-19 pandemic. We thank you for those challenges and problems that you use to make us stronger and draw more closer to you. Truly, your favor has no end, but it lasts for our entire lifetime. And we thank you for your great love, blessings, grace, and mercy towards us. Today, we offer everything to you during this webinar. May we ask for your success, may you ask for your blessings and divine providence that these activities be successful and effective. We pray that you bless and empower our webinar speakers, committees in church, and participants to fulfill our tasks responsibly. Help us to retain the invaluable knowledge and learning experiences that we derive from this webinar for actual application in our life. Help us to set our eyes and our hearts on you. Renew our spirits. Fill us with your peace and joy. Always guide us to be an ambassador of your love, grace, mercy, and goodness to every humankind. May we continually grow in the knowledge and in your grace. May we always praise and honor you in our lives. In the name of our Heavenly God, Amen.
Good morning, world. Good morning, Philippines. Salamat pagi.
Sawadi, Tanchao. I hope I said that right. Umagandang umagandang umaga sa ating wika. I'm sorry, guys. I'm gonna say that one more time. Sawadi, Tanchao. My name is Judith Kapini Broca, a graduate of Bachelor of Secondary Education, major in English.
And I am Raisel May Banig, a proud Igorot from the Cordilleran region, and we are currently enrolled as MAID students, major in educational management, and we are your moderators for today's event. So what are we waiting for? Let's keep the ball rolling. So to welcome and enlighten us all with the overall inspiration of this ASEAN event, may I introduce to you the backbone, the man in the brain behind this event, our professor in monitoring and evaluation, Mr. Virgo C. Lopez.
Alright, so magandang umaga po sa ating mga kapwa Filipino. Good morning to Indonesia, for our friends in Thailand and Singapore and other parts of the ASEAN region. Magandang araw po mula sa Pilipinas. I'm quite happy that today, after the first webinar that was conducted also in my same class or my other class for EM107 on school monitoring and evaluation, we have again here another webinar that is international in essence. The previous one was focused on the national practices through the Philippine Normal University president, Dr. Bert Tuga, and of course, one of the contextualized experiences of our SDO Nabotas through, of course, the Rockstar principal, the Rockstar principal from SDO Nabotas, of course, Ma'am Tin. And today, we are proud and we are happy to bring you an international taste of monitoring and evaluation because quality improvement in our education system has been somehow important as ever because the changes of time really force us. Even before the pandemic, it is already given that we continuously improve because our learners deserve quality education. And also all of us are customers in education sector. Maybe you are a teacher, you are an education leader, you are a parent, or any stakeholder, you are a learner. We all deserve quality services in our education sector. And today, I would like to welcome our education leaders and teachers, both from the Commission on Higher Education and DepEd, both public and private, from Ilocandia, the Cordillera Administrative Region, and other nations, of course, from Singapore, Thailand, and Indonesia. Welcome to our event. And I would like to thank first for the information dissemination, of course, given by the CHED Region 1 through Dr. Rogelio Galera, the Regional Director, and of course, Dr. Stella Carino, the Regional Director of the Department of Education. And we're happy today that the Department of Education through Undersecretary Diosdado San Antonio is gracing the event. And we will be inspired later on about, of course, the things that we should be doing, that we should continue to do as educators in these difficult times, in this time of disruptions, that we should not stop really doing our job and going with our mission, our commitment and dedication to really deliver quality education because after all, despite any circumstances, education must continue. And a while ago, this morning or earlier, I was talking to Ibo Draga from Indonesia, of course, Sir Donji from Thailand, and Ma'am Christina from Singapore about our discussion last time. Yusek Dads was also there during our Asian conversation on education in July of 2020. And time really flies because right now we're meeting again virtually for another discussion. And this time it's about monitoring and evaluation. So again, let's make this day happy and productive because after all, learning is sharing. On behalf of Dr. Carl Balita, the Director of the Executive Program on Education of Pan Pacific University. And I would like also to thank the President of the University, Dr. Rhonda Padilla, and our supportive Dean, Dr. Indelbert Pasag, for really supporting us and for approving this initiative of my EM107 class, our MAD students who have been learning a lot and of course, who would be learning as well from this engagement, and to all our audience, our participants coming from the different places in the country and abroad. Maraming salamat po. And so, without much ado, let's get started and let's continue to learn for quality improvement in the education sector. Maraming salamat po.
What a wonderful message from Professor Virgo. Thank you so much, sir. And I do agree with you that surely today will be full of learning as we have a powerhouse of knowledge from our expertise, from our expert speakers as well. So with no further ado, let us all prepare for our keynote speaker as I can feel the eagerness to learn from all our participants today. Is this right, Ma'am Judy?
Absolutely right. I can feel the exciting learning today. So go ahead, Ma'am Rai. Let's bring it on.
Okay, so our keynote speaker holds a research PhD in education at the University of Newcastle, Australia, helping him develop and enhance a strong research culture toward meaningful innovation for learning. So he also advocates for transparency, ethics, and accountability in school governance. With this, He was awarded as one of the 5 Presidential Gawad SES awardees for 2019 for his role in fostering a positive organizational culture in the Department of Education Calabarzon region. So by advocating for transparent, ethical, and accountable government. At present, he has been tasked to coordinate the review for the K-12 curriculum that we have in our education setting at present. So ladies and gentlemen, help me welcome the Philippine Undersecretary of Education for Curriculum and Instruction, Sir Diosdado M. San Antonio.
Maraming salamat, Miss Rachel. Good morning, fellow teachers and fellow leaders for learning. My greetings to the President of the University, Pan Pacific University, Dr. Rhonda T. Padilla. My greetings as well to your Executive Director, Dr. Carl Balita, of this Executive Education Program in that university. Of course, I would like to say thank you to Professor Virgo for the privilege of being a part of your very noble initiative, doing ASEAN conversations and now on experiences and practice in monitoring and evaluation. It's really very important that even as we face the Herculean challenges of the so-called COVID-19 pandemic, we have to always remember that things we do, the things we planned, of course, in the Department of Education, we created a basic education learning continuity plan. We have to monitor and evaluate. And in the Department of Education, we borrow the ideas of the OECD that when we monitor, it's about our continuing function that uses systematic collection of data to provide indications of the extent of progress and achievement of objectives and progress in the use of allocated funds. And when we evaluate, it's about the process of determining the worth or significance of an activity, policy, or program, which aims to determine the relevance and fulfillment of objectives, development efficiency, effectiveness, impact, and sustainability. So, of course, it's talking about finding out whether there is progress when we monitor, finding out whether there is progress in the achievement of our objectives, or when we evaluate, have we really been able to fulfill the objectives in relevant ways. And in the Department of Education, the ADB has actually said that the monitoring and evaluation system in the Department of Education now supports decision making and is a critical source of inputs to prepare school improvement plans, division education development plans, and regional basic education plans. And at the same time, adjustments in the plans at the central office. Right now, we're in the midst of developing the basic education development plan until year 2030. And in the basic education learning continuity plan, our goals were about making sure that learners in the basic education system are provided appropriate and relevant learning delivery modalities that were established by us. Learners are able to receive the necessary learning resources for the applicable learning delivery modalities. And we also, of course, the overall goal was to ensure that learning will continue. And this is what guides us in everything we do. We also want the learners to be actively participating in the different modalities and be provided with support systems, and they should complete education and attain the learning standards, hopefully, at the end of the school year, which is July 10 of 2021. We also, of course, aim to make sure that the education leaders, teaching and non-teaching staff are able to practice participative and inclusive management processes during emergencies. We also desired to that investments in the learning continuity plan are able to provide learners with options for the required learning delivery modalities. We also made sure that the internal systems and processes would serve learners efficiently through continuous monitoring and feedback. And we, of course, always remind ourselves that the key stakeholders should actively collaborate to serve learners. Having mentioned those objectives, I just would like to share with you that with the here at the Department of Education, we've been monitoring and to a certain extent evaluating the things that we are doing and that we have introduced through the very frequent meetings we have been making with not only with the executive committee and in the Department of Education. When we say executive committee, we refer to the Secretary of Education, the USECs, and the ASECs, the undersecretaries and the assistant secretaries. When we talk about the management committee, that includes ourselves, the EXICOM, plus the central office directors and the regional directors. I am proud to report to all of you that in the past, our MANCO meetings would be like once every 2 months or once every 3 months. And there were cases that we would have like successive monthly MANCO meetings face to face. But with the advent of technology, we've been able to monitor the things that we do through more meetings. You are able to be more efficient. But what I'm saying is there was really an intense effort to find out our progress in doing in working towards the attainment of the goals. We have at least once a week meeting with all the directors in the Department of Education and the Secretary of Education. And just to also share with you, there are meetings that last until 10 o'clock. Starting at 1 o'clock in the afternoon. So a marathon meeting would not be rare. It's normal. Although when we have fewer things to address, normally 3 to 4 hours is fine. But what I'm saying is the way we've been able to listen to what's happening on the ground so that we can make proper adjustments in the policies is really these meetings. The other way we have been monitoring things is, again, this is a bit traditional. We visit the schools, we visit the field units. I personally go around when my schedule warrants, and I think since the quarantines have been relaxed prior to the second wave of more rigid quarantine rules, I've been going around at least once a month. I make sure that I visit a school or something else so that I would understand the challenges, the extent of our efforts, the extent of success of the efforts we make, so that the children, the young Filipinos, will be given the opportunity to learn. We have to remind you, I think you know this, that the multiple learning delivery modalities we have offered is really designed to address the unique learning needs of the Filipino learner according to his or her situation. So learners who claim that they have no access to any education gadget or ICT gadget would be learning using the traditional paper-based learning resources. So as I've said, meetings, we do physical monitoring, and definitely we are monitoring and evaluating the basic education learning continuity plan with several research initiatives at the central office and even at the regions, the divisions, and the schools. NEDA and UNDP and UNICEF are working on like an evaluation research on the effectiveness of the different multiple learning, the different learning delivery modalities we've offered the learners. We are also initiating an in-house research on the best practices in implementing the different learning delivery modalities as well. Because we really would like to learn our lessons out of the way that we've been like pushing for things to be accomplished. We have to understand better by making sure that the data gathering is systematic and the decisions that we make are evidence-based. Let me give you an example of how we made an immediate adjustment in our policy immediately after gathering initial feedback within 1 month
upon opening of the school year last October 5, we issued a call for academic ease because we gathered that the learners were overwhelmed with the things that they had to accomplish on the basis of the SLMs, the self-learning modules that we have developed for them. We thought that we had to provide them a lot of activities so that they would be motivated and challenged to accomplish more. But knowing that, realizing that it was like almost 7 months where the learners had nothing to do, especially in the Department of Education, the law of inertia, of course, was at work. So anything that was offered was found to be burdensome. So we had to make adjustments. Of course, we also are aware that even if we have we have produced a plan that is according to our ideals, we realize that there are like challenges beyond our control that made us realize that there were things that we could not do. But one thing that I assure you all is also our reminder to our field units who have been empowered to operationalize and contextualize the basic education learning continuity plan, that they are always reminded to be ready with contingencies. Let me give you an example. We are not able to completely provide the self-learning modules to our learners, but we made sure that there was support and there was an like adequate reminder to our field offices to activate their contingency initiatives. And I think even if, as I've said, the accomplishments so far would be far from ideal, but considering the challenges that we had to overcome, I personally feel that the Department of Education, sorry, but this would be a biased assessment, that the Department of Education, on the basis of our own monitoring and evaluation, has somehow been able to fulfill, first, our desire to end the overarching goal of making sure that learning continuity is made possible. There are issues, of course, that are raised, like, are all the children learning? Of course, we are all teachers. We know that children will learn if they are very much motivated to learn, if they are engaged in the learning tasks. And even in a face-to-face classroom, you won't find like an average class having all the kids glued to you while you are facilitating the class. So I think this is the same with our distance or home-based learning experiences being provided to the learners in these COVID-19 times. So I would still wish to argue that to a certain point, considering the challenges, the realities that all of us face now, the fact that we've been able to make learners undertake activities that will hopefully allow them to understand the concepts that need to be understood, then, as I've said, we may not be considered exceptional in the implementation of the learning continuity plan, but I would say we have at least succeeded, at least considering the constraints. And I am very proud to also share and note that perhaps some attendees here who belong to DepEd can be these fellow teachers and fellow principals and leaders for learning who have been able to come forward with very creative and innovative ways of performing their tasks. And so I also would like to just share with you that the Secretary of Education, Secretary Leonor Liling Magtolis Briones, was not mistaken when she said that the plan should be operationalized and contextualized at the level of the schools, the division offices, because we all, including myself, I firmly believe that when we empower people, we unleash the energy for creativity and innovation. I really agree with the Secretary that it is in allowing our fellow teachers and fellow leaders for learning to be authorized to make decisions professional decisions according to their own assessment of the realities in their areas. That would be, I mean, that would make us really share accountability and responsibility in delivering basic education services. We are, personally, I'm also desiring to see a Department of Education where all of us would not have to wait for a DepEd order or a DepEd memorandum before we move. Because after all, we are all licensed professionals, and a professional reflects on his or her practice and knows how to address the issues in their own needs. There are doctors among us in the Department of Education, and doctors should know how to cure. There are master's degree graduates who are in our midst as well. And most of you, some of you are actually pursuing master's or even doctoral degrees. And when we hold a master's degree, we should be masterful in the way we do. Of course, in the Department of Education, I would always also joke that a master teacher should be one who provides masterful learning experiences for the kids, for the youngsters, not empty, not EMPTY. So what I'm saying is, as we pursue efforts for monitoring, evaluation, adjustments of plans, because we do monitor and evaluate so that our plans could be adjusted and we can pursue our goals with modified, recalibrated strategies, and hopefully so that we can accomplish and attain continuous improvement in the things that we do. Once again, my gratitude to Professor Virgo, Dr. Carl, and to Pan Pacific University for the privilege of being with you this morning. Congratulations to your team, and I always pray that your initiatives are completely complementary to what we want to happen in the Department of Education. We really believe that the highly capable people in the Department of Education are the ones that will propel us to greater heights in our Sulong Edukalidad initiative that is about making sure that the quality of education we provide is high, and so that the youngsters will truly be ready to face the challenges of 21st century and would be ready to be citizens in the so-called fourth industrial revolution. Again, mabuhay po kayo. Maraming salamat. God bless.
Wow. When we empower people, we unleash their potentials. I really like that, Yusek. I really couldn't agree more. Thank you so much once again, Yusek, for sharing your time and expertise with us. All right. It is indeed an honor to learn from you about monitoring and evaluation, even in a very short period of time. And before we move forward, we have a special request here. We would love to share his response to the discussion we just had. So I'm going to introduce a special person. It is my pleasure to introduce the man behind the brand, the former dean and a professor, a highly respected entrepreneur, okay, the patriarch of the CEB Group and companies, including the biggest review center in the Philippines, an outstanding Tomashan awardee, the president emeritus of PCCI-QC and the director of the Pan Pacific University Executive Program or Education Program, no other than Dr. Carl E. Manita.
Hi, magandang
Good morning,
umaga sa inyong good morning. Magandang umaga sa inyong lahat, especially to our favorite undersecretary of the Department of Education, Yusek Dads. Maraming salamat really for always being with us and joining us in what we do. You know, we're one with the Department of Health in trying to make a difference in our little ways. Call it our little way. You know, a little way of making available some learning resources for our teachers, for our aspiring teachers. And I can see in Facebook alone, we have hundreds, and it is shared by a lot of people. So I can imagine thousands of people are gathered in a venue which physically Pan Pacific University will not be able to accommodate. I'd like to congratulate the
the team, Professor Virgo. I wasn't wrong. I was so right, and I am very happy that I made that decision to make you the professor of the subject in the executive program. I'd like to thank you for it and congratulate you for it, together with the class who really worked hard. And I'm seeing very familiar friends who had been with us with our previous events. Of course, special mention, they are all Filipinos. Okay, one of them is a Filipino by heart, my sister in Indonesia. I wouldn't have any other sister in Indonesia. We must be sisters and brothers in our past lives. Um, of course, our Ibu Draga Rangkuti. Thank you very much for joining us today, and our Filipino educators elsewhere in the world, Donji and Christina. Thank you for joining us today. Pan Pacific University Executive Education Program wanted really to not only learn in the classroom, but expand that learning beyond that classroom. And I am I was clear from the beginning that don't confine the learning within yourselves and within the books that you read and what the professors can deliver, but I want it really to be able to tap resources outside the classroom, which we successfully did today. And not only that, I wanted the idea of the that learning being shared to not only to the students, but to everyone else who could access the social media. And this is so unique. For those who are not students of Pan Pacific University, or for those who have not been through the Pan Pacific University Graduate School program, maybe you're amazed by this. Imagine our students tapping the world for learning and tapping the world for opportunities of becoming lifelong learners. That's really what we want to do in this program. I cannot really help but just congratulate the group. Of course, acknowledge our president, Dr. Padilla, and the dean of the graduate school, Sir Engelbert Pasag. This was my commitment to you when we talked about a different graduates program in the executive program. And I'm very happy to hear from Dr. Dads, from USEC Dads, that indeed the Department of Education is doing its best. But sometimes our best is not enough. You know why that best is not enough? Because we have to do our part. That's my message. We just cannot complain. We just cannot criticize. We just cannot rant unless we have done our part. Because you lose your chance to criticize when you have not done your part. And as far as school management and evaluation is concerned, this is not only the role of the principals. Okay, we have now an ongoing program on preparation for principalship. USEC, I'd like to report that to you. Like 100 plus aspiring principals are reviewing for the NCASH or the principalship exams that would come soon. And I'd like to tell you that I had a meeting with them last time, and you know what I told them? I told them that if you are only here because you want to pass the exam, please get out. Please go home. Please rest. Maglaba ka. Maglaba ka na lang, maglinis ka na lang ng bahay, huwag ka na lang umattend ng klase namin. Kung ang gusto mo lang ay pumasa sa exam na gusto mong ipasa. At kung magiging principal ka at magiging sagabal ka sa pag-unlad ng edukasyon sa school na hahawakan mo, ako mismo ang luluhod sa altar para ipanalangin huwag ka sanang umasa. That was my message. You know why? Because I was saying that please don't make us the bridge towards an intention which is not good. But of course, I said na kung ang interest mo ay maging magaling na principal, kung ang interest mo ay makakontribute to the future of education at ang interest mo ay matuto ang bawat batang ibibigay sa iyo, one learner at a time, at matulungan mo ang mga guro to bring out the best in themselves, one teacher at a time, please be here and we will do everything to make that happen together. Yun po yung mensahe ko sa kanila. And I think they felt me. I think they felt that because that's our message to every teacher who aspired to become teachers. Kung nagdadasal ka dahil gusto mo lang pumasa sa board exam, napakababaw ng dasal mo, Huwag mong abalahin si Lord. Yun ang message ko sa kanila. Kung nagdadasal ka para pumasa ka, para maging mayabang kang tao dahil teacher ka na at LPT ka na, sana lang huwag ka nang pumasa forever. Pero kung nagdadasal ka because this will bring out the best in you and you want to be the best teacher you can be and you can follow the footsteps of Jesus Christ, who was described as a teacher in his life on earth, I'll say, please stay and let's find a way to do it and achieve it together. Sa mga nandito ngayon, you're not here because of the certificates. I'm sure a lot of you are just here because you want to get that certificate, because that can put more value to your promotion and so on. But you're missing the whole point, ladies and gentlemen, if that's what you really want, if that's only what you want. I really commit to contribute to education because it's very problematic. Yusek Dads, I'd like to report to you that on Wednesday, I'm sure you got the letter already, that on Wednesday, we have created the PCCI Education Committee, Education Task Force. Nag-invite po kami ng 12 tao to look into the 4 areas of education, okay, that I created the framework. Gusto ko lang pong i-report sa lahat na hindi po kami natutulog at nagwe-webinar lang. Meron po magaganap sa Miyerkules na isang launching ng isang task force na ang gagawin po namin is to look into what's happening so that we can recommend solutions and offer solutions. Yun po ang pinakamaganda doon. We will not be here to criticize. We will not be here to find what's wrong. But we are here to find what we can do as stakeholders of education, because we are all stakeholders of education. It will be launched. We have invited the president of PNU, Philippine Normal University, the president of ALCO, Association of Local Colleges and University, the former director general of TESDA. We have invited a lot of people, only 12 people to be in that group. It's going to be a 2-month engagement. Every Wednesday we will meet. We will invite some people every so often. And I'm co-chairing it for teacher education and training, and related to also school leadership. That's my co-chairmanship along that line, because we want to make sure that the teacher education and the teacher training, and including the school leaders are able to be assisted. Hindi po natin sila pipintasan, hindi po natin sila hahanapan ng mali, bagkus hahanapan natin sila ng paraan so that they can become assisted and helped in what they do. Because their success is our success and their failure is our failure. All right, so yan po, abangan nyo po yan. It's some of the conversations that will be in my social media. I'll make a report to you, but in the end, after 2 months, we hope to come up with a very comprehensive recommendations and solutions which we can deliver, not only we can talk about. So congratulations to everyone, and God bless. The best way that we can help this fight in this pandemic is to be negative, negative with COVID, but to be very positive with life. Remember, as I posted yesterday, we are in the same storm, but we are not in the same boat. Some are in beautiful yachts, some are in a cruise ship, some are in boats, etc. But remember this, we are in the same storm. And in 2022, we will be in the same vote. And that's what I said. And I said that because we need the government here. Okay, thank you, Yusek Dads. We love you really. And the teachers love you. And we're so happy to have you with us today. Maraming salamat po. And to my sister in Indonesia, Assalamualaikum. I know it's Ramadan. I know you're fasting, but we're disturbing you. I miss you already, Sister Ibu Draga. And we love you from the Philippines. We're sending all our love. Salamat po.
There we have it, ladies and gents. We just witnessed a wonderful exchange of wow, or what we call words of wisdom from the two respective education leaders. We have the Undersecretary San Antonio and of course, Dr. Carl. How about you, partner? How are you right now?
You're right, partner. I feel the same way. So we can actually hear right now virtual clap or see some heart reactions. Can you give us a heart reaction? Feel free to use the reactions button there. It's not gonna harm you guys. Just kidding. Or thumbs up, that would be fine. Participants, we would appreciate that. If you feel the same way too, okay? Thank you very much. Yes, partner.
All right. So for now, we'd like to express our gratitude to our keynote speaker through the certificate of appreciation to be awarded by Dr. Carl, our Dean Dr. Pasag, and Sir Virgo. We have on spotlight. We have on spotlight our Undersecretary, San Antonio.
Our vision here at the Houston Nursing Alumni is that we are.
So let me go ahead and first read the content of the certificate. Pan Pacific University, Dr. Carl E. Balita Executive Education awards this certificate of appreciation to Undersecretary Jos Dado M. San Antonio for imparting his valuable knowledge and expertise as a speaker during the 3-hour webinar ASEAN Conversation, Experiences and Practices on School Monitoring and Evaluation via Zoom on April 24, 2021. Given this 24th day of April 2021 at Pan Pacific University, Urdaneta City, Philippines. Signed by our faculty EM107 course, Mr. Virgo Lopez, our Director for Executive Program, Dr. Carl Balita, and of course, our Dean, Dr. Engelbert C. Pasag. May we have on spotlight our K4 a photo opportunity.
Thank you. Yeah, I'd like to report also to Madam Moderators. I'd like also to report to Dr. Dads, to USEC Dads, that Pan Pacific University has opened, in fact, a graduate program which is study now, pay later. It's a study now, pay later kind of arrangement, and some of our students actually have availed of that. Saka makakita na you're studying, your graduate studies are being pursued now that you're still probably unemployed, you're probably under board or something, and you may choose to pay it later when you're able. Nakaka-frustrate lang USEC kasi hindi masyadong marami yung takers, pero natutuwa kami na may mga takers. I would rather, I'm celebrating the applause of one wise man than 1,000 fools. And totoo naman, and they were some of the best, USEC. And in the future, they will just look back to this pandemic and say, in the pandemic, everyone were locked down. But in our case, did you know that I studied my graduate education? I had my master's degree while the pandemic was on. Ganun po yung masarap balikan. Kaya mga audience dito, mag-start na uli kami sa kailan nga ba? May? Dean?
May 19. May 19.
May 19, we will have our second, our next tranche. Our next intake will be on May 19. Maybe you want to message us already if you want to be part of that. And Dr. Pasag, thank you for fighting in the board. He fought for this. Ladies, yung mga estudyante namin in that scheme, pasalamat tayo kay Dr. Pasag because he really fought this in the board because at the end of the day, we want to be relevant and we want to be helpful to those who are dreamers out there. And Dr. Pasag, did you notice? Because of that program, we attracted some of the best students. Did you realize that? We now have some of the best.
I know. It's from Luzon, Visayas, and Mindanao, USEC. So we're really thankful for our students right now. It's the gift of technology that we are actually reaching out. And thank you so much.
Yeah, and USEC, let this be a conversation about that task force that we created with PCCI. We intentionally did not include the government people. You know why? Because what we're looking for are private sector solutions and private sector's resources so that we can come and help you. That's our intention po. No? And we wrote a letter to the secretary informing her about it, and we were completed only yesterday and we're launching on Wednesday. And we're here to help. Everyone's here to help. And I'd like to publicly invite Dr. Pasag because I have included you in the subcommittee on teacher education. And we will write you letters because the 4 subcommittees will form subcommittees and take the lead in the 4 areas, including curriculum, Dr. USEC Dad's curriculum and instruction. The other one is teacher and student leaders. The other one has something to do with so on. There are 4 areas in that framework where we are all divided, and we're looking for solutions and what we can do. That's the best part of it. Okay, and for everyone here, the creativity of CBRC also launched the other day that we are doing our virtual field trips. Okay, Yusek Dads, we're doing our virtual field trips in May. Imagine a student learning from Luzon, Visayas, and Mindanao. Okay, you will go 30 minutes in Ilocanja, in the Cordillera, and in the Bicolandia. Then later on, you will go to 30 minutes each. You will go to Cebu, Bohol, and Bacolod, and 30 minutes each to in Mindanao. We chose Zamboanga, General Santos, and Cotabato. Okay, that's the first leg of our virtual field trip. And after that, the next will be the ASEAN. Then Ibu Draga will be tapped to help us understand Indonesia and see the beautiful Indonesia live. Then we will go to Vietnam. Of course, Sir Donji will help us on that. We'll also go Laos, and we'll go in Singapore and Philippines. 5 countries in the ASEAN. Imagine visiting it in one day. And real time. You will see, as you see the trees behind me, that's how it will be presented. And lastly, the world. Sometime in June, we will have a virtual visit to the world, where we will also have to visit Europe, America, Asia, and the Middle East. Okay, so I'd like to report that to you, Yusek Dads, because I know this is also a missed kind of learning opportunities for many of our students, and we don't just want to miss that. And for the teachers who are here, you may want to message us in Facebook or in the Zoom. Maybe you can link with the Sir Virgo so that he can link you to CBRC. Ang gusto ko lang pong sabihin dito, let's all do something to be able to help. Maraming salamat po.
Thank you so much, Dr. Carl, for that. And personally speaking po, isa ako sa mga nag-enroll din sa Study Now Pay Later for master's program ng Pan Pacific University. And I can actually say that being part of this program, it's a one hell of a chance that I will never forget. And hoping after ng pandemic nito, we have our master's degree certificate na rin po at the end. So we are inviting our participants as well here who are actually interested. Please send a message to Pan Pacific University. So once again, let's go ahead first and take a photo to be taken by our technical team. Sir Johnson. Okay, let's go ahead. 1, 2, 3, smile. 1, 2, 3, smile.
Maybe the participants would like to turn on their cameras too, so they can have a picture with Yusek. Come on, all participants, turn on your cameras. Come on, turn on your cameras and let's have a picture together. Everybody smile, just keep on smiling. Thank you so much, everyone, and congratulations to the class. Dr. Virgo, maybe you should give them a flat one, all of them. So for having staged this one. Congratulations.
Coming from the director, so what did I do?
Virgo, wala na tayong kawalan nito.
Recorded pa man din.
No, Mr. Virgo is, I'll tell you, is one of the best educators we can ever find, and he's growing to be greater than what we can imagine, and we look forward to that. Congratulations. I want to call him Dr. Virgo already because his dissertation is almost over. All right.
Congratulations, sir.
Thank you, Yusek.
Congrats in advance. All right, what a wonderful discussion.
Continue to blaze the trail.
Yes.
Thank you, Yusek.
Right. I hope we have more time though. But guys, we are just starting and we still have a lot of time to share with you, our dear participants. By the way, once again, we'd like to extend our greetings to our Facebook Live viewers, since this event is being simultaneously being broadcasted via the Pan Pacific and Carl Bonita official Facebook page. We encourage our Facebook viewers to also interact, please, and engage by putting on your comments and raising your questions later on. Feel free to ask, guys, come on. Thank you to our program and technical team who currently monitor the Facebook engagement.
All right, and for the information of everyone, we will be having 3 sessions. In this event, there will be a discussion interaction session in each talk to be followed by the open forum after the last discussant. So what are we waiting for, partner? Let's give it up to the school principal of Happy Family School of Excellence International School in Singapore, the Lion City, Ma'am Christina Bacolod Labrador. Good morning, ma'am.
Good morning, everyone. Wow, it's just the opening messages, and I've been learning a lot already. I've always looked up to Undersecretary Josado Antonio, same with Dr. Carl Balita. So very inspiring talaga sila. And I also would like to acknowledge the presence of Dr. Padilla, Dean Patag, and Pasag. And of course, Dr. Carl Balita once again. So, Mr. Virgo, Professor Virgo, Dr. Virgo, thank you very much for inviting me once again. And it is my privilege to share with you. I shared with him actually one of my hesitations. I told him, Mr. Virgo, I'm actually a school principal of a new school. We are a developing school, very young school in Singapore. And I don't know how much I can share during the webinar, but he encouraged me and he said that definitely there are things that I can share with everyone, and I hope to add value to your learning. And also I look forward to learning from all the other speakers as well, and from everyone during this webinar. So to start off, just to shape my presentation, I really believe that it's good for you to understand our school. Okay, I'm going to give you an overview of our school and what we are doing. So HFSE International School stands for Happy Family School of Excellence. Previously, Happy Family Home School of Excellence. We aspire to be the first to be an international school for all. Okay. This is our humble beginning. Our founder, Miss Nina Lynn Sulit Kakananta, she, based on the personal experience, her son, who is currently studying in Singapore, didn't get a slot in the local school. And it was a challenge for all the migrating families, the migrants, to get a slot or a vacancy in the public schools here in Singapore. So she decided to homeschool her son first for a year, and then later on more and more families expressed their struggles and challenges that they couldn't find a school for their children as well. So that prompted her, with God's guidance and friends who tried to influence her, to put up a school to be able to provide quality education for students and at the same time keep the families together. So in 2016, that's where we started our first primary school year. And in 2018, 2 years later, we got our registration with the Committee for Private Education. So this is the same agency, the organization that looks after all the private education institutions here in Singapore. So after that, fast forward, we were put in for 1 year probationary period and then 2-year registration. And just this year, we're happy to share with you that we got our 4-year registration already. So it's actually a very exciting milestone for our school. We believe that every child can succeed, just as like what all the schools are doing, despite the challenges of that this current pandemic is causing us. We believe that education should continue and must continue. So regardless of status, regardless of ability, we believe that students can succeed, and we bring the whole family together in order to do that. We want the family to be together and at the same time to be involved in the child's education. We would like to be the first choice of global migrating families. It started with the Filipino community. I would say 95% of our students are all Filipinos. Okay, so Filipino. Our school is the first Filipino-run international school in Singapore as well. And we aspire to help and create global citizens, making an HFSEN difference. So here's our pathway for excellence. I shared with you that in 2018, we got our registration with the CPE, that's the Committee for Private Education. And this year, we also opened our first batch of our secondary schools. We have already started offering secondary school programs, and that's another milestone for our school. We continue to aim for higher, and in 2023 we also we are aiming, our goal is to offer a tertiary education and finally to get an EduTrust certification. So this one is just to give you an overview. Once we get this EduTrust certification or registration, we will be able to sponsor students from the Philippines or all parts of the world to study in Singapore, okay, without having to depend on the family's pass, okay, or employment pass. So our school profile, if you ask me what's the profile of our teachers, I would say that all our teachers have PhD, passion for teaching, okay, passion for teaching for the students. And our teachers are very passionate, okay, very passionate teachers, and we are very proud of them. We are an active member of the business network group. So the Philippine Embassy is also very supportive of our programs. In fact, they're recommending a lot of activities and events, are even connecting people to help our students as well. And we are a member of Singapore Association for Private Education. We started with 24 students in 2016. We have grown to 300 students strong currently. So that's how we have started. And we have also a high passing rate for the AIS. So some of our students, many different reasons also and factors contributing to this, they still try to go to the local school and take an examination, and many of them actually pass. It's a bittersweet moment for us every time a student passes, but we trust in God's plan, and I know that we are assured that God has a wonderful plan for our students. So besides Filipino students, we have students who joined us who are actually pure, who are international students, like those from Myanmar. We have students from Vietnam as well, India, and other nationalities. Okay. Now, well, that's just our humble beginning. In relation to the topic, experiences and practices on school monitoring and evaluation, I would like to touch on 4 different areas. The first one is on content knowledge. Just do this. All right, on content knowledge. Many of the things that I'm going to share with you are things that we have already been trying in our school, and some have been coming from an inspiration from other mentors and other educators and schools, as well as my own reflection as a student leader, as an education leader, okay, as the school principal. So on content knowledge, during the first 2 years of our school, most of our teachers were actually hired based on their passion for teaching. It was an added advantage if they had the educational qualifications or industrial knowledge and experience, though it was not a priority. So our school founders' advocacy is to actually provide employment, especially to those full-time mothers who wanted to go back to the workforce. So I believe that that's really a novel advocacy, and I consider it very, very good and inspiring as well. However, of course, because of that, some teachers did struggle at some point to teach their students and had no idea whether what they're doing is really making an impact on student learning. So later on, we discussed and we realized that there's a need to hire more experienced teachers. And until now, we are slowly building our structures and system with more inputs and value-added strategies and suggestions from the new additions to the team. So for me, content knowledge focuses on impact on student learning. One of the ways that we measure this is to find out whether we are making an impact is through lesson or observations or conducting walkthroughs. So I would like to share with you my own reflection on how I used lesson observation as a strategy. I only visited a teacher's class to observe once or twice a year as part of the year-end performance evaluation. So during those walkthroughs, my goals were to identify the teacher's strengths and areas for improvement, which I hope to communicate with the teacher during the evaluation process. This opportunity gave me an insight as to what types of training and mentoring the teachers need to be more effective in their role in the future. However, since it was based on an evaluative system, I will no longer be able to help undo or guide or improve anything because the opportunity to make a change had gone by already. So why? Maybe the teacher who was observed that year, who was struggling with classroom management, already left the school or to pursue another job. So the chance to observe our teachers in action as well as the response of our students to their teachers have given me an idea of what support the teachers need. So, for example, since there are a number of teachers who need help in classroom management, I was able to organize a PD session for the teachers to equip them with more strategies to improve on this area. They completed the training with newfound skills and techniques, which they are ready to and excited to try out the next academic year. As a school leader, I'm doing my best to put this on top of my priority. And in the coming years to come, I will be more intentional and make more time to welcome the students at the school gate in the morning and say goodbye to them during dismissal. So besides that, I will increase my conversations with the students as well as the teachers to gather more information and data to better understand the impact that each teacher and the lesson is making in class. I believe that besides the data and information that I will be gathering through walkthroughs and conversations with our teachers and students, this action will significantly affect the school climate and culture and bring about change because there's an open communication and dialogue and suggestions given for feedback. So in terms of content knowledge, I believe that we have to continuously, progressively, and consistently do lesson observations in order to find out the kind of support that we can give to the teachers as well as the learners. So moving on to the second one, on student engagement. I consider student engagement as an indicator of success in every classroom. When students are meaningfully engaged, I believe that the instruction has been effective in creating a curious and happy learner. In our school, there is no prescribed structure or guideline as to how teachers carry out their lessons in class. So our teachers have the freedom to teach the topics based on their teaching style, format, or chosen strategies because we want to give our teachers the liberty as much as possible to exercise their creativity so long as they achieve the learning outcome set at the start of the school year. So last year was especially challenging year for all of us because we had to think of so many ways to engage our students, bearing in mind all the different transitions from face-to-face learning and then later on blended learning and then full home-based learning and later on back to face-to-face learning again. We introduced many activities to hopefully engage the students. And although obviously we spent great efforts and time in planning and implementing those activities, not all our students enjoyed all the activities and rated some of our events and even some of the activities low. So for meaningful engagement to take place, I believe that we need to ask our students what they need. Yes, we've been asking our teachers, we've been asking our parents and advisors most of the time about what we want our students to learn and what we think our students should learn. However, we probably seldom ask or maybe have never asked our students those important questions. I consider this as one of my important takeaways for the past years. And if we really want to create a positive impact on academic learning, achievement, what students should learn should be relevant and meaningful to them. They should feel it themselves. And hence, it is important to involve our students in setting our learning objectives. So that's my takeaway for student engagement. We have to always keep that open dialogue with our students and ask them, what do you want to learn? So by asking that, we have introduced new activities to our students this year, and they are actually enjoying it. Okay, so on assessment, this is the third point that I would like to touch on. John Hattie's visible learning identified feedback as one of the strategies that can potentially accelerate student achievement. This strategy requires more than just sharing what a student is good in or his areas for improvement or what suggestions can we give the student to do better. Before feedback is uttered, it requires significant effort from the teachers to know every student and what motivates him or her, how we can build rapport and trust, and a commitment to nurturing that trust through the teacher's genuine intention to help. So the big idea that I would like to explore further in our school is for assessment to be helpful for students, it must inform them in words, not just in numerical scores or letter grades, what they have done well, what they have done poorly, and what they need to do next in order to improve. Some of the reasons I have identified, which I think why is this not the focus of our school or in our school right now, is because our assessments are there are some factors. Okay, for example, planning of assessment as well as its purpose. Maybe the teachers are pressed for time to complete the lesson plan, so the main goal is to conduct the assessment as part of the requirement to complete a task. Type of of our examination, usually we have multiple choice questions, short answer questions, or even fill in the blanks, matching type. These are exam types that are easy to mark or easier to mark, but not necessarily show a deeper understanding of the content, because those types already come with a standard or model answers set by the teachers. Our teachers need to relook into our grading system, because the final grades do not seem to accurately describe the actual standing or performance of our students in class. For instance, some are good in written tests, but may strive in oral or performance tests. Besides having a balanced assessment, I believe that the teacher's judgment and observations of each student and communicating their progress in words will provide a better understanding of students' strengths and areas for improvement. Suggestions for improvement from the teachers would be very powerful to communicate with students. so that the students will have an idea of how they can work hard to improve their weaknesses and to bring out the best in them. Just to share an experience, one of our students who recently received his report card at the end of the academic year, he felt confident that he's done his best last year, but could not understand why his final grade did not qualify for the school's academic awards. So that was an eye opener. If we make efforts to share more, to write more, to spend more time and give more feedback to our students about what and how they can improve, this might lead to an increased motivation and increased self-esteem and self-efficacy. So as I reflect on my current role, it is important to have a better understanding of what the student understands, and the teachers as well. What do they understand about assessment and how assessment impacts our students? So next, I also need to understand how our students view assessments and how it is valued as part of their learning. My next step as a school leader is to evaluate our assessment's purpose and practices so that we can identify the gaps and improve on it for the betterment of our students. I will also look into the research-based types of assessments so that we can improve what we currently have to better address the needs of our students. Lastly, I'd like to touch on building capacity. I've been fortunate to have met a former principal who later on became my mentor. He recently told me that you cannot lead, you cannot let, rather, okay, you cannot let a blind person lead another blind person. This, I believe, is his guiding principle that helped him create positive impact and changes in the schools where he worked before. I just want to share his own personal experience so that we can also learn from him, okay? To him, focusing on building teamwork and getting everyone work towards the same goal is very difficult to almost impossible. So instead of requiring his teachers and staff to think the same way, he invested his energy identifying the individual strengths of his teachers and staff and assigned them to do tasks where they can use their full potential that will create high impact to the students. For instance, not all his teachers were suited to teaching classes for long hours. So what he did was he cut down on their teaching time and assigned them to research and development, mainly focusing on practical applications of psychology in the classrooms to create an impact on the students' learning. The organizational structure in his previous school considered the teacher's personality, their motivation, their style, even their age and preferences. So he also required his teachers to be involved in research and asked them to only share strategies that created impact in the classroom so that the other teachers could also benefit from those things that they have done. As a result, he was able to bring about positive change to their students' results and motivation in school. And I believe that he's an effective instructional leader who did not just arm his teachers with strategies to create positive impact, but on his quest to finding out how to motivate their students to succeed, he first worked on identifying what would motivate his teachers because his teachers have the direct impact to students' learning and development. When teachers are motivated, I believe that they can then motivate their students to succeed and achieve excellence. This is my inspiration, and I'm very happy that this is also happening in our school. And we have a buddy system, and we have senior teachers and very experienced teachers who are guiding the other teachers who need guidance and help. In order to succeed in creating a high impact learning for our students, I believe that this is an aspect that I need to continue to work on in our school. Recruitment does not end when you think you have already found the right person to carry out the job. I I think it requires a daily effort to continue to assess, equip, support, retain, and evaluate the person's effectiveness so as to achieve the goal. I learned the importance of getting the right people in our team, because this will create high impact. I believe that this is also similar to all organizations, not just in schools. In any companies and institutions, our best resource is always our people. In schools, most especially where teachers directly affect student achievement and create high impact, the journey to success starts with hiring the right teachers, retaining them by constant motivation, and supporting them with whatever they need in order to be effective in their roles. So with that, I would like to end my sharing with some of the things that we have been doing for the past. We have educational field trips. Just recently, we brought our students to a farm, okay, and they enjoyed that. And we also have our outreach program. We believe in social responsibility, and we are responsible to our community. We visit the elderly and provide support to them as well. We have our leadership camp, and last year we did this virtually, and this year I hope we can do this on site already. And Miss Nina, being a very busy person, I am very happy that she really takes the time to spend time with our students, to inspire them, to motivate them, because this generation, they are our future, and we need to continue to motivate them and guide them to bring out the best in them. And again, from 24 students, we have grown to 300. And just look at that. This was 2 years ago when we had our family sports fest. We continue to do our very best to provide a wonderful experience for our students. We cannot be complacent, and we don't have the whole time to make a difference. So as long as they are here, they are in front of us, and we have the chance to do our part to make that positive difference, we will do it. So that's our commitment for everyone, to our students, and I believe that we have the whole team, the teachers, the parents, the staff, and all the major stakeholders working together to do this. So I am really excited to learn from the other speakers as well on how you monitor and evaluate your students to ensure achievement. That I really love what Dr. Carl Balita said. We are all in the same storm, but we have to always do our part as well. We have to, we cannot complain and just look at what blame can we give to the different sectors, but we have to look inside, assess and reflect on what we are doing, and if it is something that can value add to others, then let's just share it. So with that, I'd like to end my presentation, and thank you very much everyone for your attention.
Wow, what a full-patch message from Ma'am Christina for sharing with us about the monitoring and evaluation of school education in Singapore, specifically in your school, the Happy Family School of Excellence International School. We can see that you are focusing on content knowledge, assessment, the student engagement, and building capacity. And of course, with this, your school is indeed committed to creating a quality education, not only in Singapore, but also internationally. So with this, may we hear some insight from our reactor who took up her teaching unit at King's College of Marble, Coronadal City, and currently a MAED student of Pan Pacific University, Miss Irish May Galerio.
Thank you so much, Ma'am Razel. Okay, so good morning, everyone. First of all, I would like to thank Ma'am Cristina Bacolod Labrador for being with us today and giving us knowledge and information in regards with the school monitoring and evaluation in Happy Family School of Experience of Excellence, or HFSE International School in Singapore. I love how the school prioritizes family, having importance with it, and engage with them. As we know, that family comes first, right? Okay, so I am also amazed with the presentation about the practices and process the school have in order for them to achieve their desired outcome and be an effective key of knowledge to the learners. Ma'am Christina also talked about content knowledge, so they focuses with the impact on student learning. Next is student engagement. They allow their students to excel in their they allow their teachers to excel in their creativity. Also, they realize that they need to ask students what they need and keep an open dialogue with them. Next is the assessment. They plan to increase motivation and efficacy for students to broaden their understanding and view in regards with this. And building capacity. They create impact on students' learning and students identifying what motivates their teachers. So Mom Christina also shared some of the school activities they have, just like educational trip, outreach program, leadership camp, Thursdays with Miss Nina, and family day. So before I will end my reaction, I would like to highlight this from Ma'am Christina's presentation. HFSE International School believes that every child can succeed, one happy family at a time. This is deep when we reflect or think about it. So, ma'am, thank you again for sharing with this. And it is a great honor to have you here today. I would also like to thank everyone who joined and participated in this webinar. God bless and good day.
Wow, that is indeed a wonderful sharing of insight, Mama Rich. So this time, let's give the spotlight to Mom Christina to receive the certificate of appreciation. The same appreciation to be given to Madam. So let's have the spotlight to Mom Christina. All right. So the same certificate of appreciation is given to Ms. Christina Bacolod Labrador for her expertise as guest speaker on the webinar ASEAN Conversation, Experiences and Practices on School Monitoring and Evaluation. Again, thank you very much, ma'am, for your time.
May we have on screen Dr. Pasag, our Dean, Sir Virgo, and of course, Ma'am Christina, and if we still have here Dr. Carl for the photo opportunity. Okay, let's go ahead and take it. 1, 2, 3, smile. 1, 2, 3, smile. Thank you so much, Ma'am Christina, to our Dean, and also to Sir Virgo.
That's right. Thank you very much. So let's move on. All the way from Singapore, going to the south, our second discussant came all the way from the place known as the Emerald of the Equator, Indonesia. The founding director of Pahar Hidayah International School, no other than Ibu Juraga Ramti. Good morning.
Good morning. Good morning to everybody. It's nice to attend again with Dr. Carl Balita program, which is has given a lot of informations and knowledge to all of us, even to our day-to-day here in Fajar Hidayah. I got inspired many ideas coming from our friends from Singapore, from Thailand, from the Philippines, and which we need these days, how to have more ideas so that the school, the education is still fun to do for our children. So of course, in Indonesia, there's a lot of impact because of the COVID-19. A lot of things in regards to how learning, how education continues, because our country is quite big. We have a 250 million populations, and we have 17,000 islands, and most of them are very remote, and most of them also have no technology available, although that thank to the telecommunications companies that they've been able to provide as much as possible the internet throughout all even the remote islands. But even then, we still lack of the facilities such as the computer or the laptop or the iPad or the handphone. But some technology also help, even as simple as handphone. It still help to continue the children even in the remote areas to further their study or to continue their studies. So, okay, can I have my presentation, Isma? I have my assistant here. Her name is Isma, just next to me. Today we're going to discuss about monitoring, evaluating students and teachers on the virtual learning. Since the pandemic, of course, that most of our students, even up to today, they are still learning from home. And there's a lot of development compared to when it was first started, especially in other schools. Fortunately, in Fajar Hidayah School, actually we've been practicing this distant learning school, we call it, since 1999. We have this distant learning developed since 1999, provided for the children who followed their parents to the other countries. So it was not too shocking for our school or for the teachers to do the online teaching or the online learning. And we have a quite long experience, which we are thankful now, doing the distance learning school. So we've been practicing many times. Next, please, Isma. Okay, we have been doing hold on. Can you do the next pictures, please? Okay. Yang sebelumnya Isma. Nomor 1. Okay, this is how we evaluate our students. First of all, when they do the online learning, yang sebelumnya, when we do the online learning, first of all, we make sure that the children have a good behavior and attitude when it's time for them to learning, whether online or offline. Even in our school, also that the first thing that we grade them or we evaluate is their behavior and attitude. This is very important, even during the online session also, that the children must behave and have a good attitude, such as they are wearing a proper clothes, even they have to wear the uniform. And then they have to observe all the manners during the online learning. Even though they are in their own house, they still have to have a proper attitude, such as not playing while listening to their teachers or to their friends or talking with each others. They have to make sure that they are not disturbing one another. So behavior and attitude, which is number one, that we are evaluating our children, and we make sure that they know that we are grading them based on this attitude and behavior. And understanding, analyzing, classifications, and applications of the subjects, the teachers will evaluate how far is the student understand and can follow the subjects, even though they are not meeting the teachers directly or online. And then we give them freedom to search as much as they wanted to in the internet about the subject itself. So we try not to have a standard textbook or a standard reference for the children to learn something. So they can have as much reference as possible. So this is one way also to evaluate the students. And the third one is the special skills. Now, the special skills can be anything. It can be from the language, can be from science, it can be from any daily things like gardening, or even cooking, or even cleaning, or even not only in sports, but also a very simple thing in the house, helping the mother to prepare the food or the table, to arrange a certain part of the house with the father, or just simply cleaning or washing the cars. So this is we consider as a special skills, and they deserve to be given a grade for that. And they like that because we have noticed what they are trying to do and be useful to something, to someone, especially to their parents and their family. We as the school or the teachers, we should appreciate what they are doing in the house. So we should give some grade or some appreciation that improve their grading in certain thing in the school, even in any other subjects or even all subjects. Like in Fajar Hidayah, we integrate every activity of the children into all the subjects. So we integrate every value that they produce to all the subjects, even though they are not learning math, but if they account how much they bought a bottle of milk, that is considered that they are learning math. So a very simple thing that we always take it into account as evaluations. And in our school also, we have a special event. Now, during the special event, during this pandemics, because we don't go to school, the children doesn't go to school. So this is actually their time to go to the school and to meet their friends and the teachers, to do something special event, even though we don't invite all the children at once. Usually we divide it into classes or into levels of years. So they come to school and this is a chance for them to meet their friends and then to be socialized, which is also affecting some of the children, we notice, because they are always stay at home. They are no longer too friendly, or they become estranged with their friends, especially the one who just starting to go to school. So this is the time for us to make them socialize among themselves and also to get to know more about the teachers and the school. So this is what we do. We have make special event. Usually, like if there is a hero day, so we make purposely something in the school, or some religious festival, we can also make something to do in the school. So this also that we give a special grade if they attend or if they come, or if they don't come, it's okay also, but they do it at home. So whatever festival is it, if it is a hero day, so they will wear a hero uniform or hero costume in the house, and then we usually do the zooming also, so they can also watch from home, if they don't need or if they don't want to come to school, or if the parents are still worried about sending them to school. And the other part is also that during this pandemic, we also conduct webinar for the students, which is very, very good. And then it is very, very effective for them, because in this webinar, actually, just like Dr. Carl Balita was saying, this pandemic, actually, there's a lot of things that there's a lot of more opportunity open to us, because with this pandemic, we do the webinar just like today. It's not hard to reach Philippines, Indonesia, Singapore. It's so easy and less hassle, because we don't have to organize a location, a place, the dinner, the food and everything. Everyone is just comfortable in their position, in their own locations, and still we can have something together across the world. So the webinar for the student is also very good. So we conducted also a webinar. One we did also with Dr. Carl Balita, and we also continue in Indonesia among other schools and also with other countries and with other Muslim countries. We get together through the webinar, and you'll be amazed how the student as young as first grade can be really excited and motivated to prepare themselves to just to participate, not even become a speaker or reactor, but they just watch. They usually will open their Zoom 2 hours, 1 hours before, just to be able to be involved in this webinar, which is really a very good learning for the students. And this also, every student who participate in the webinar, we give them evaluations and we give them grades. And this make them also very self-confidence to appear in the webinar as a participant of the program. Of course, the traditional one, we have also quiz and exam. Fajar Hidayah is not too fond of quiz and exam, actually, because we have many activities. But sometimes it is necessary just to discipline the students, that to make sure that they continue learning with or without the teachers, with or without the parents. So we sometimes do give quiz and exam, but it's not a total compulsory as a base for giving the student evaluations or grades. So we do have sometimes, if the teacher feels it is necessary, then of course, we give them quiz and exam. Although, because of the pandemic also, and because our new Minister of Education, he also feels the same. Indonesian is very known, the school in Indonesia is very known to have too much quizzes and exam. Most of the teachers make their grades on students based on quiz and exam only, ignoring the other factors in the students. So we're glad that the Minister of Education today, he doesn't rely everything on quiz and exam, but also on the other activities, characters, and an involvement of the students in many other things at home or even outside the house. Homework, again, Fajar Hidayah is not really fond of homework. We don't give students homework because before the pandemic, our school start at 7 in the morning and then ends at 4 o'clock in the afternoon. So we felt that it's no longer necessary for the school to give homework to the children or to the students, because we want them to be interacting with the family, get involved with their brothers and sisters, play, rest together, talk, share, discuss anything. We want them to have time to do all those things, or just simply eat dinners together without having to be bothered by doing homework. So we like to have them to have a quality time once they are at home, which we feel that they spend more time with us, the teachers, than the parents. So we don't want to take away their time with the parents by giving them homework. So homework is not necessary unless the children or the students are having some difficulties in particular subjects and they need to catch up, or they are slow in that subjects. Most probably the teachers will give that particular students a special homework, but not like the normal homework that we used to have in school. Usually we give homework in the form of projects or things to do at home with their parents. And the other things that we also make evaluations is on the awards from the various competitions the students join. So there are a lot of virtual competition these days, even before the pandemic, also that we do that. Every students who join the competition, it will be an extra rewards or an extra evaluations on these particular students. So it makes them also, motivate them also to join the competition. And even though they are not winning the competition itself, just by joining the competition, according to our school, it is already very encouraging things for the students, or where they have to do a special efforts to just to join the competition. And just to join is, I think, is a big value already for a child or for a student. So competition that we have to encourage them to join, even though we don't have to demand them to win the competition itself. Now, we also like to develop in every student to have a self-initiatives or improvisations in their life or in their activities. Like in the house, we don't have to tell them, or in school, to tell them every time what they have to do. They have to know what to do if nobody is telling them what to do. Actually, every children knows what to do, but sometimes they purposely ignore it. So we have to develop a self-initiative in every child. So if nobody is telling them what to do, they should know how to do it and what to do. For example, if their parents not around, they should understand that they have to have time to study, have time to play, have time to eat, have time to sleep, have time to rest, to take a bath. So this has to be developed every time in the children or in the students, by giving them or teaching them the schedules of the activities, daily activities. And this is one of the purposes also for the teachers to make use to every children to have their diary, or to have their notes, or to have their guidance to what to do every day. So that even though if the parents or if the teachers are not around, especially during this pandemic, usually they are alone in the house because some parents are still working, both of them. So they are left together among the big brothers and the big sisters or whoever. Still, they have to have this initiative, how to control, how to program their daily activities. Now, the last thing that we evaluate on the students, oh yeah, by the way, the self-initiative also that the teachers must discover whether they are doing this initiative by themselves through asking questions when they meet during the Zoom time. Now, the lastly that we are also evaluate on students or give grade based on is on the how friendly they are, how inspiring and motivating to the other classmates. Because they don't meet, they just meet in the Zoom meeting or in the Zoom class virtually. So still they have to perform all this caring, all this friend, all this saying hello. And then if any friends get sick or having some problems, the others must give some prayers or greet them, or even send something to make their friends happy and get well soon. So this is also, we spotted any children and we encourage them to do this, to become part of the evaluations of their grades. So these are the evaluations and the monitoring of the children. I show you some pictures here. This is the competition they're attending. And then some students, they make their own experience at home based on the assignment or the lesson that are learning. So we encourage them to make their own experiments in the house. So we don't give homework, but we do give some encouragement to try on certain things. The teachers also will have to give a little guidance, but whether they are doing it perfectly or not, it doesn't matter. As long as they try their best. So we don't care about the result or the outcome or how perfect it is, but we give more evaluations on whether they are trying to do it or not, because this is most important. Some students, they know how to do it, but they just don't want to do it. So the most important thing is whether it is difficult or not, they are happy to do it. So just make sure that we tell them that this is part of the grading. So they will do it happily. And of course, we do also, last year we do also our physical graduations. We don't do virtual graduation because I feel very sad. Being the owner of the school, it really feel so sad to have this batch or that generations not be able to experience the supposed to be graduation, which is one of the important thing in their life, which they cannot repeat again. They cannot repeat a graduation of elementary twice. So we make sure that the graduation take place. Of course, there's the COVID protocol, like the mask, everything, and we don't do it also all at once, all the students. We do it class by class, although it is a little bit difficult, not difficult, I mean, not as easy as like we have to have it like 1 week of everyday graduation ceremony, and instead of just having 1 day, but we have like the whole week, because every day there's a different class to graduate. So it's okay. It's a bit tiring for us, of course, the teachers and the school, but the children are happy. We are also very happy to see the smile and the laughter and the excitement of the student. And we as a teachers, of course, as a school, I'm sure that the teachers can also have the same experience, how happy they are when when we told them, yes, you graduate in the school. So they feel so happy about it. So we have a graduation foto-fotonya in schools. And of course, another activities that we do to take the children out from their comfort of their house, from the comfort of their rooms, and we take the children, especially during this Ramadan. Fotonya udah keluar? Ya, yang ini. Ya, during the Ramadan, Ramadan is 1 month we have to fast. Last time we have to fast from the sunrise to the sunset. So it's a long time. So it's going to be very boring if the children just stay at home. And they would feel very depressing because, maybe they feel hungry, they feel thirsty, they feel, they cannot eat, they cannot do this. So we have this program every day. We take them to a different country to share with those who in the other country how the Ramadan is celebrated in that country. So we started with the Belgium. We went to Belgium the first day of Ramadan. Fortunately, we have our alumni there who got married with a Belgian citizen. So she shared with us how it is in Belgium, how she conducted her fasting or her Ramadan activities, and surprisingly, even our first grade students are so excited to ask questions. to ask question about many things. What do you eat, sister? Where do you buy your food? Is there any this particular food of Indonesia there? You know, there are many, many, many questions. And actually, we only limited the time for 1 hour, but usually it ends up like 2 hours because there's too many discussion, too many questions asked by the students, all grades, because we invite all grades mixed together from the elementary, even from the kindergarten to high school. And this is a very exciting program. Actually, every day they are waiting for the next country. So far we have conducted more than 5 countries, and from Monday to Friday. And this coming Monday, we will have with Holland. So we've been to Belgium, we have been to Czech, we have been to Malaysia, we have been to the Philippines. We have a person from the Philippines, a Muslim senior man in the Philippines, who give us a shares of Ramadan in the Philippines, which is very excited for the students. So we do that. And then the other things what we did is also that we have a storytelling time, performed by every students, take turns. So every day they are given a task to tell story about anything. But because this is Ramadan, so anything about the story about anything about Islam. But in other days, the teachers and the student can organize together what story that they would like to tell. So this is like a mini podcast for the student. And it's also excited for them because every student will take turn to do their storytelling. So this is one of the favorite program also by the students, because children or students, they love to see their friends talking. So this is one of the things that we also evaluate. So they usually prepare well. And this is also very helpful for those students who doesn't perform well, so they can improve or they can do more during this kind of activities. Of course, teachers now, evaluation on teachers. Now, even though we work from home, but most of the time, our teachers in Fajar Hidayah, they do come to school. We feel more satisfying to be in school and conducting the teaching from school. And aside from that, we also have to evaluate together and discuss many things. What programs so that the children will not get bored in the house, and then make too much trouble, too much burden for the parents to teach them in the house. We don't encourage parents to teach the lessons in the school to teach them in the house. No, we don't force to do it. Although some parents insist, but we don't actually really force them to do such things, because we feel that the academic matters is the school responsibilities, and the characters matters is the parents' responsibilities. So this is that we base on the we evaluate teachers also on how they behave and their attitudes. This is one of the things that we always evaluate on the teachers, and how positive mindset they are. We have to keep them, like Miss Christine says, that we have to always motivate the teachers to always have a positive mindset. And also the training, the teaching skill must improve day to day, every day, because there's no such thing as a perfect teachers. We teachers, even though we teach, we need to learn and learn and learn. So new things every day we have to learn. And of course, the attendance, whether they are at home working or from the school, the attendance is very important. And of course, that how they manage the classroom and the administrations. of the school, and also that how friendly they are, how inspiring they are, how caring they are to the students, and how entertaining they are also in the student. Remember, teachers must also know how to entertain the students, how to make them happy. Yeah. And of course, because we are an Islamic school, so we are very particular about the Islamic value, and whether they are performing it well or not. This is very important because it's part of the characters. And of course that we also evaluate how far the teachers are trying to improve or to self-develop themselves. So this is also very important. And we also evaluate how teachers establish their relationship with the parents. This is also very important, which we all agrees. Of course, it is important for all teachers to make a good relationship to the parents, with the parents, yeah. And the last thing, of course, the most important thing is, of course, we have to be able to collaborate, to work together as a teamwork, from one teacher to another teachers. We have to share the knowledge, we have to share the experiences, we have to share all the problems, and that makes a strong team for every school to be able to teach the students and to achieve the result of the educations as the way we want it. So it is important, again, the teamwork, even with the parents, is also a very important things to do. So that is the evaluation for the teachers. Now the evaluations on the school. Now we have also conducted a regular meeting in the school every week. Of course, you know, we don't really worried about our COVID because we assure ourselves come to school, to the office, to the meeting with all the healthy, happy conditions. And of course, for any staff or any teachers which are not too well, we are also happy to send them home or to tell them to go home. So it's actually a very flexible situation during this pandemic because we don't want also sick teachers to come to school. So the school will have to we'll have to make the school, have to keep the school clean all the time. That we make sure that the cleanliness, the protocol of COVID is taken care well. And since our school is also, there has no students, and fortunately Fajar Hidayah has a very big school. We have about 60 classrooms, and we have to make sure that to clean and to keep them clean during this emptiness of the school, and we have to maintain it, although it is quite heavy, but we still have to maintain it. And and we have to make sure that everything is in place. And the other thing that we have to maintain now is the most important thing is we have to provide free Wi-Fi so that the teachers and the school can work properly with the students on the online activities. And of course, there's a flexible teaching location. The teachers can go not in the classroom, not in the room. They can teach from outside. They can teach in the house. They can teach in the garden. They can teach anywhere to make a different environment for the students at home. And also the students in the house, when they learn, they don't have to be just in the room. They can be anywhere. They can be outside. They can be in the dining room, in the kitchen, wherever they want it, as long as they observe the attitude and the behavior. So we are flexible in teaching. We still open the school, the office, of course, from 8 to 4 o'clock. And then we meet all the technical requirement on for the teachers to teach online and not online. And we also avail of the special Zoom package. And we also do remedial classes for those students who are not, who cannot follow the subject well in the house. They can come anytime during the office time or during the school time to meet the teachers, as long as the parents are permitting them to meet and to study and to learn and to catch up whatever is necessary for this particular students. So we are always, our school are always open. Our door is always open for any students, any parents that requires to meet the teachers anytime during the school time. So online communications, of course, we do this among teachers, with the foundations, with the principals, with the parents, with the students. These days, all these paperless communications, as we can, as much as possible, we try to avail. Oh, also, I forgot to mention, we also make use of the social media to encourage our students to put their projects, their homework, their assignment, or whatever projects into the social media, Facebook or YouTube or Instagram. Sometimes we say that your grade will depend on how many thumbs up they receive or how many likes or how many subscribers, you know. So that will be part of the evaluation or the grading that we give to the students. So this is what we do in our school in Fajar Hidayah. We have to prepare now for, maybe Singapore is already advanced, that they attended classes already since last June, but Indonesia is still locked down. We hope this coming June is going to be open for all the students to go to school. But there is a new development. Some students, they do prefer studying from home. Now, my analysis is perhaps not all the students are happy to go back to school as the usual, like the past time. But some of them probably prefers, yes, I want to go to school, but not every day. Yes, I want to go to school, but not from morning till afternoon, you know? So we have to think, we educators must think now how this affected the children to think that they are not necessarily have to go to school, which is true enough. If they can do things online, why is it that they have to go? Maybe it is best for them in the house because they can be, they have more time with the families, family time, like Dr. Balita said. Yes, I am the same. I really appreciated this COVID-19 situation whereby I can stay home longer than the usual so many years, you know. We spend only like, what, 3 hours, 4 hours in the house. Everything is on the road or in the office. But during the pandemic, you know, I realized that there are some corners in my house I have not seen. So the pandemic makes me realize that I have now, oh, this is what happened in this corner, which, you know, for so many years that I never realized that corner. So this is what I want to share from Indonesia. I hope it is knowledgeable for all of you and something that can benefit your school. So we miss, of course, this kind of gathering with the students, like the pictures also from Singapore show us. You know, sometimes I can cry to see this kind of pictures because this pandemic has taken away the happiness of the togetherness, the playfulness of the children during normal time. So let's pray that hopefully that we can go back to those kind freedom for the children to learn in the school. Thank you very much to everybody for listening to my piece. So I'll return to the host now.
That is indeed an informative message about the monitoring and evaluation in Indonesia, which I believe is actually will be very helpful to us educators, especially in a diverse and broad classroom setting. Thank you so much, Ibu Draga, for sharing. And we would also like to acknowledge the support of your husband who is with you right now for during this webinar. So may we now hear an insight from our second reactor. She is actually a B.Ed graduate at Pamentasan ng Lungsod ng Maynila and is currently working as a middle school teacher at Our Lady of Pilar Montessori School, Las Piñas City for almost 4 years. May we all have Miss Glian Echon.
Thank you so much, ma'am. So one of the key points that mark on the practices and monitoring and evaluation in Indonesian educational system are the students, teachers, and also the parents, right? So there's always a what we call collaboration on it. So first, that really hits me is the behavior and the attitude, wherein the virtual class attendance of the students is still monitored. And also on that part, Al-Quran recital, as you can see, this is also what we call the understanding following the Quran, because this is the sacred scripture of the Islam. Okay, so fostering local approaches of the skills, they are not focusing on the cognitive also, but also on the skills that they want to impart towards the students. And it has achieved substantial progress in increasing access to education and skills development. That being said, there are large disparities in terms of access and relevance across the Indonesian provinces. And one of another words or terminologies that I would like to emphasize also is what we call the special focus, which is the given to looking at vocational education and training opportunities for the students, which provides the people with the skills training that directly leads to a job. And also another term is what we call the Islamic New Year, wherein they are also giving importance on their celebrations on it. And it is also what we call the mark of the beginning of this Islamic lunar calendar of the year. So to sum up the Indonesian educational system, I would like to also emphasize what we call the parental involvement in the educational system of Indonesia, which has also a greater impact on student academic success, which have been also recognized by the teachers, schools, administrators, and policy. So let us not forget that monitoring schools and evaluation is very important. But before that, before I end, of course, I would like to acknowledge the presence of the husband of Ibu Draga. Salamat silang ta, Mirdas. Okay, so thank you so much to be with us po, Ibu Draga. And once again, I am Glenn Iyachon from EM 107 class of Pan Pacific University, Terima Kasih Banya.
Very good.
Thank you for that. Yes, wow. So thank you so much, Ma'am Glian, for that wonderful insight. May I just ask, do you have any plans to teach in Indonesia? Ma'am Glian?
Sorry? Yes, I'm sorry. Can you repeat?
Oh, it's the question goes to Ma'am Glian, ma'am. I'm just curious if she has plans to teach in Indonesia.
Actually, I'm planning po.
I
you may
invite
want.
you.
Yeah,
I
I'm
will
interested.
invite you to Indonesia. Welcome.
Thank you
Come
so
to
much.
Indonesia. First, we
Wow,
can do through online first.
Oh, I'll set your plans with Ibu Draga, Ma'am Glian. You're already
Thank you so much,
recruited.
Ibu Draga.
Wow, we're looking forward to see you, Ma'am Glian, for that. All right, so up next, let's continue the learning this morning as we welcome our last, but definitely not the least discussant, all the way from the land of smiles, Thailand. He's a design calculation and technology faculty at Samsen Wittayalai School. He's also an operation manager, currently affiliated in Inter-ASEAN International Education. Let's all welcome Sir Donji M. Vardas.
Hello, good afternoon to everyone. I know you're hungry. Sawadee kap to kunakap. And I would like to acknowledge and thank the organizers of this webinar, the Pan Pacific University Executive Program of Dr. Carl Ibalita, Sir Virgo, and my co-discussant, Ibu Draga and Miss Christina. Once again, we're here. and to all students of EM 107 of Pan Pacific University. Thank you for inviting me as one of your speakers. So I will not waste our time. I would like to share my screen. I received a personal message from some of the students saying why Thailand is very famous about engineering courses or engineering majors, especially to those movies that they watched from the internet. I will answer that question later on after my discussion. um, so let me share my screen. Okay, so ASEAN conversation experiences and practices on monitoring and evaluation. So first and foremost, I would like to introduce my school. The school where I'm working, I am working in a top three and top five public high school in Thailand. Located in Bangkok, the number of students in this school is approximately 3,600 now, from grade 7 up to grade 12. This school has been established in 1951, and the first name of this is Rangnam School. And at same year, it has been changed to Srayayutaya School. And then the Ministry of Education then established a new school, and construction started on April 16, 1954, and the male students moved here on the 15th of 1955. So the school name now is given Samsen Witialai School. So I am a public teacher here in Thailand. Oh, sorry. Um, I will just discuss the evaluation and monitoring based on the directive of the Ministry of Education, because we are under the Office of the Basic Education Commission. So this directive, we call it the Basic Education Core Curriculum, year 2018. So sorry kasi ang year nila dito gumagamit sila ng plus 451. So that's why it's 2551. So without further ado, um, in learning assessment in a basic education, especially the schools under the Office of the Basic Education Commission, there are two fundamental principles of learning assessment or evaluation. The first is the purpose of developing the learner's capacity, and second is for appraising their achievements. With a view of succeeding in development, the learners or learning quality learners must be strengthened and assessed by availing of the relevant indicators. So all the subjects, all the things that we teach in our school, we follow the Ministry of Education's indicators. So as to achieve the learning standards prescribed, such evaluation also reflects the learner's major capacities and their desirable characteristics, which are the main goals of measuring and evaluating the learning outcomes of all levels: classroom level, educational institution level, educational service area level, and national level. So the first classroom assessment, how the teachers assess the student or monitor, evaluate the students inside the classroom. The measurement and evaluation are part of the learning process. We teachers regularly and continuously measure and evaluate our students' performance in teaching learning activities by using diverse assessment techniques. As we all know, our students doesn't have the same abilities, skills, so we assess them based using the diverse assessment techniques also. Asking questions, observing, examining homework, assessing projects, task assignment, portfolios, using written tests. I observed some of my friends, or I've learned from some of my friends also working here in Thailand. They've said in their schools, there's no such thing as competition. Like students, they just take the exam, they don't care, or some of the students don't care what score they get. But in the school where I'm working, there's always a competition there, because for them, scores matters. So that's why it is also beneficial for us teachers working that school. Actually, now in that school, there are 7 Filipino teachers who's working together with me. Most of us are subject teachers. With most of the Filipinos in the school where I'm working, we do not teach English subjects. We teach our we teach our subjects through English communication. Okay, so teachers also assess projects, task assignments, portfolios, and using written tests. In my case, I am focused more on the outcome based learning, or output based or project based learning. So I matter the most of my students' output because I am a design technology teacher. So I always ask my students to innovate new technologies. They created a new robots, the robots that can be used in a daily lives or can make our jobs easy. So teachers also will conduct evaluations themselves to provide learners with opportunity for self-evaluation, peer-to-peer evaluation, and evaluation by parents. Learners do not succeed in meeting and standards prescribed in the indicators will need remedial measures for teaching and learning. So nowadays we are now in, oh, not nowadays we're on a break. 2 semesters back, we were on a online base. So we use Google Meet, so to meet the students, and then after that we get into 50-50, 50 of the students at home and 50 students were face to face, but still like we are turning on our computers so that the students at home can see us. So it's really challenging for us teachers, but in the long run we get used to this kind of a style, and then we also adjust on how the way we monitor and evaluate the student. We do not use the usual one that the management of the school asks us to do, but we also do something, or we also create our own techniques, our own ways on how we evaluate and monitor our students' progress. Okay, so much for that. How the school's assessment. This evaluation is conducted by educational institution in order to appraise the learner's achievements on an annual or semester basis based on assessment of reading, analytical thinking and writing, desirable characteristics, and learner development activities. In my case, I am a teacher in a EP program because the school is big. There are 3,000 nowadays. There are 3,700 something, almost 3,800. But I was assigned to teach those students who's, shall I say, uh, brilliant. They're intelligent ones. Like you don't need to translate the English word to Thai. They can easily understand you with a straight English. They can easily communicate with you. So these are what we call gifted kids. So in my case, in that department, the EP department, the English program department, um, we always we always give assessment at the end of the semester for the students based on the reading, analytical thinking, and writing. So as an advisor of a classroom advisor, so we always do assessment, a paper assessment that give like, these students improve his writing, blah blah blah. And then also, the aim is also to obtain relevant information about whether education provided by the educational institution has enabled learner to reach their goals of learning and what we are learners' strength. So that's how the education. So every after 3 years, I think the Office of the Basic Education Commission always visit our school to check if we are still following what the Basic Education Commission has the directive, if we are following the directive of the Ministry of Education. So aside from that, the learning outcomes can be also compared with national assessment criteria. School assessment will provide data and information for improving policy, curriculum projects, teaching learning methodologies, and evaluation outcomes are also useful for preparation of each educational institution. Educational quality development plan in accord with the educational quality assurance guidelines, as well as reports on each educational institution achievement to its school board, the Office of the Educational Service Area, or the Office of the Basic Education Commission, parents, and the community. So our school, the school where I'm working, is so lucky because we are funded directly from UBEC, the Basic Education Commission. So that's why the buildings, all the facilities of our school, which I'm gonna show you later on, what our school can offer to the students who will be studying in that school. So local assessment. Evaluation is conducted in order to assess learners' quality at educational service area level based on the learning standards prescribed in the basic education core curriculum. It aims at obtaining basic information required for developing quality of education provided. So evaluation of the learners' achievements can be conducted by availing the standard examination. So in Thailand, we have what we call, I think in the Philippines, we have national standard test, right? But in Thailand, we have what we call ONET, okay? What is ONET? Okay, so we call that national test. So evaluation is conducted in order to assess learners' quality at national level. So as what I have said a while back, that our school notched up, shall I say, in the ranking of public high schools in Thailand, because most of our students got perfect scores in the national level test. So educational institutions are required to arrange for assessment of all students in grade 3, 6, 9, and 12. The evaluation results will provide relevant data for comparing educational quality at different levels, which will be useful for planning in order to raise the quality of education provided. The data obtained will also support decision making at national policy level. So let's continue that. The ONIT is what we call ordinary national educational test. Okay? So the students before, there are 9 subjects, but last 2015 they lessened it to 5 subjects only. So grade 3, grade 6, 9, and 12, they're going to be taking the ordinary national educational test, uh, with the subjects Thai language, math, science, social studies, religion and culture, and foreign languages. So actually, this really matters in every school. So schools prepares for this test. Why? The more students who got high score, the more your school will become famous, or shall I say, you have the standard. So this is the basis. In my own observation, for almost 8 years working here, this is my basis on why I can say on it for them is very, very important. So the national test, the data from evaluation at the various levels mentioned above will be useful to educational institution for checking or reviewing and developing learners. Um, it is incumbent upon the educational institutions to establish a system for providing necessary care and assistance, remedial measures and encouragement and support in order to allow learners to develop themselves to the highest potentiality. The data obtained from the evaluation therefore will provide essential information to the educational institution for providing timely assistance to learners who are thus allowed to enjoy full development in learning achievement. So in Thailand, like if the school has the lowest what call this, like lowest scores that they get, the basic education commission will send letter to this school. Okay, I think you need to do something about your students, or you need to do something about your teachers. So that's where the commission will gets in. Maybe they're going to suggest something to this school or something like that. So let's continue. Okay. So aside from this national test, where it's always like the basis of the standard of a certain school, but according to UNESCO, this is according to the UNESCO's Global Education Monitoring, that in Thailand, the National Institute of Educational Testing Service has administered the ordinary national educational test, or ONET, primary grade 6 and secondary 9 and 12 since 2005. The number of subjects was reduced from 8 to 5, rather. I'm sorry for that. It's 8 and then now 5. The data is used by local education to compare individual schools against their district or national averages. They are also used by the inspection service. So see, this ONET is always the basis. Like in our school, if our students get a perfect score of all the 5 subjects, their faces were always in front of the gate with the LED presentations. So that's how the school is so proud of these kids, and these kids also will receive amount of money coming from the parents and coming from the stakeholders, rather, and from the school. Aside from that, coming from the commission. So see how important for them is UNED. So however, see, there are no common student performance standards, and the main role of ONIT is to certify education level. That's what the UNESCO said. That's what the UNESCO believe. ONIT scores fluctuate between years, which means they cannot be used to assess whether the system meets Curricular expectation, a review is indicated capacity gaps in test, development, and analysis at National Institute of Test. Similar concerns were also raised about central and local education administrators' capacity to interpret results. So here, like I am in District 1A. So in District 1A, where most of the top schools are competing with each other. So in some other provinces or some other provinces, they're also like competing in their areas. So though if they exceed more than the areas where they're competing, so that's why they're gonna get into like national level. So it's always here, like it's been a practice. It's always like we believe that for every schools, ONET scores matters the most. Okay, so here's the list of Thailand's top 50 high school based on the successful admission to Thailand's top universities. So aside from ONET, they also matters in how many students from the schools, from the high school where they have graduated, enters the top universities or the national ONET result. So not just the ONET also, but top universities. What are the top universities? For example, Mahidol University, Chulalongkorn University, Thammasat University, Konkan University, and King Mongkut University. These are top 5 universities in Thailand. So aside from the ONET, they also check if the admission to Thailand's top university. Don't you know that this is very important for the grade 12 students? It's like one semester for them to prepare for the entrance test to get into the top universities here in Thailand. So the first or the top one university is Mahidol. Mahidol Witina Yusorn School, Triam Udom Suksa, which is the top one public high school, Suwan Kular, Hatyai Wityalai School, and Samsen Wityalai School. Mahidol is a school in the country which specializes in developing students who are regarded as exceptionally gifted. So they are the gifted one, exceptionally gifted, especially in math and science. And there are no school fees to pay, but this is a private one, so it's a scholarship. But admittance is the toughest in the country. So before you can get in, you have to um, take the test. Same as in our school, same in Samsen, you have to take entrance test. I think there are 6 subjects that you're going to enter with interview and other ways on how you get inside the school. Okay, so yes, this is how we evaluate. So much for that. I'm gonna show you how our school looks like. First, this is our auditorium, the newly built auditorium. This is our canteen, and this is also like these are all both auditorium. The chairs with the white cloth. We always use that for graduation, but the red one always used for conferences. Canteen. We also have like self-assessment learning library, so students can just get inside there. And this one, like the pink ones, this is my first time to see a digital library that students uh, can can play games because we are promoting esports nowadays in our school. We are also including esports as one of the subject. And aside from that, we have what we call karaoke rooms. This one, this is our karaoke rooms. Like there are 9 different small rooms for karaoke. Like depend on how many students can get in. Like 9, 5, 3, or 7. And then this is also the digital room, and this is also the library, and this is where I am working, and this is the building where I am working, and this is the computer lab that also I am working. We have what we call Mac lab. We also have 3 different computer laboratories. So this is the school where I'm working, and yeah, this is the field, full field, and also where the students do the flags, hail the flag ceremony every morning. So thank you so much, and yes, I'm done. Thank you so much for. Am I fast?
Oh, it's okay, sir. You're doing great.
Okay, so that's how we evaluate. Like we Filipino teachers here, we just follow on what the school. Yes, I am working in a public school, but in international school. I used to work in an international school also for 5 years, and then I've transferred to this school. It's been my 3 years now. So in international school also, we also use different ways on how we evaluate our students. So depend on the institution, but still we have to follow the Ministry of Education's directive. Okay, especially the implementation of the school standard. So yeah, do you have any question?
Okay, and before we go on with the question and answer portion, thank you so much, Sir Bardos, for the wonderful discussion. And somehow we are getting ideas as to the educational setting there in Thailand that we can actually adapt here in the Philippines. And by the way, aside from a design, calculation, and technology faculty, Sir Bardos is also affiliated with Asian International Education as operations manager.
Yes,
So, yes, sir.
I'm also a MAED student here in Thailand. So yeah, I understand, like we also learn about monitoring and evaluation, how we are going to create our own assessment or criteria on how we evaluate the students. So even me in my class, I have my own criteria, or shall we say rubrics, in how I evaluate the students based on the output that they're going to present to me. So as a future, as the future principal or director, yeah, it is very important for us to learn about this matter. So that's why I am very interested, and I'm happy because I am discussing this matter together with my MAED students in the same line.
We absolutely agree with you, Sir Donji, regarding the importance of monitoring and evaluation in this education setting. So now may we hear our reactor for this session. He is actually a grade school teacher at University of Northeastern Philippines and the Center Coordinator for Mathematics at the Irga City DepEd Division, Sir Vincent Rino.
Hello, thank you so much, Ma'am Rachel. Hello, good afternoon, everyone, teachers, administrators, and educators of the future innovators. I am Vincent Trino, your reactor for today's webinar. I would like to commend and appreciate Mr. Donji and Bardos. Thank you. It's helpful and overwhelming to have you with passionate educators, improve our ways, responsibilities, and be motivators of future innovators. And of course, giving insightful message that still their reality in terms of monitoring and evaluation in education system. All about the ASEAN conservation experiences and practices on monitoring and evaluation. I would like to adapt the evidences or proof in my sharing first that said, well ago, Mr. Donji said that a learning assessment, there are two fundamental principles of learning assessment evaluation. First is for the purpose of developing evaluation. Second, in appraising their achievement. And under the four about classroom assessment. So Mr. Donji said one of the important is to measure and evaluate the student in terms of their performance. For example, he said that one of the example are the following. First is asking questions. Second is homework, assessing use. One is the school assessment. The function of assessment is to evaluate and conducted by the educational institution in order to appraise the learner's achievement, and they measure learners to reach their goal in terms of learning process. And the third one is the local achievement. So he said that evaluation is conducted in order to assess learners' quality in educational service, area level based on the prescribed on the basic education core curriculum, or the BECC. And the lastly is about the national test. In the area of assessing the learner student, their performance, educational institution are required to arrange assessment for all students in grade 3 and grade 6, that is for grade school, and for the high school level is grade 9 and to 12. Again, this is Vincent Rino from the University of Northeastern Philippines Grade School Department, Iriga City, Camarines Sur, and that all my reaction about Mr. Donji Bardo's discussion. Once again, Kapungka means thank you everyone and good afternoon. Thank you so much.
Kap China Kap.
Thank you so much, Sir Vince. Now let's move on to our open portal. You know what, partner Rizel? I got a lot of questions here. I've been reading a lot of questions, very interesting from DepEd, but I believe those questions were already answered. You're tackled absolutely by our great speakers, Sir Donji and Ibu Draga. But here's what I've picked among the rest of the questions. The first one intended to be asked to Sir Bardos. First is what is one characteristics of monitoring and evaluating Parinyato or Parinyaek in Thailand that makes it unique among ASEAN countries? And the other question is, let me go back to the comment. Hang on, just one sec. The other one is it true that most of the teachers in Thailand are not education baccalaureate degree? So those are the two questions for you, sir.
Well, can I answer that? Okay, so actually the Parinatos, as what I have understand this, is like the bachelor and the master's degree. And when you say evaluation and monitoring, like in Thailand, if you're done with the subjects, you pass the subject, and then what's the most interesting thing about them when they like graduate, the Palinyato or the Palinyaik, is that they have more days to bring their academic gown, and then they're going to go somewhere, travel somewhere, go to other country, bringing their academic gown and take a photo, because for them, wearing that academic gown symbolizes what call this victory, or symbolizes pride for them that they have finished their or they graduated. So uh, this question actually, there's no what we call like the characteristics. The characteristics normal, the same as in the Philippines. You, as a student, you will take the exams, you will graduate, you comply with all the needed requirements before you can graduate, and yes, you will graduate. So the thing that what mesmerizes me is that graduation for them is a very, very important part of their educational attainment life. Like, it is very important for them because they have achieved something in their life. And you know, education here in Thailand is very expensive. Okay. So the second question, is it true that most of the Filipino teachers here in Thailand are not education or baccalaureate? Yes, honestly speaking, way back 10 years ago or maybe 15 years ago, most of the teachers here, even me, I came here, I am not an education graduate, I am an IT graduate. And when I came here, I started to love teaching, and I started to study diploma in teacher education. I took the licensure exam, and both I am a licensed teacher here in Thailand, and I am also a licensed teacher back in the Philippines through CBRC. Okay, I and my boss from Inter-Asian International Education, Dr. Edgar Iligan, requested the PRC to conduct the LET exam here in Thailand. And it's been 3 years that the LET exam has been conducted here. So that's why, yes, there are still non-education graduate here in Thailand, but nowadays they are studying because Thailand is already promoting the ASEAN integration that says if you are a licensed teacher back in the Philippines, then you also a licensed teacher here in Thailand. So many Filipino teachers who are working here and non-education graduate are started to study diploma in teacher education. Federalism, we promote salary standardization. But when you promote salary standardization, if you are not a licensed teacher or we don't have the qualifications to get the standardized salary, so what's the first step? To become a licensed teacher. So that's it. Yes, there are, but nowadays Filipinos are already studying a diploma in teacher education here in Thailand. Thank you.
Wow, that's very interesting. And I hope those questions were answered, dear participants. Now let's move on to the other question intended to Ivo Draga. I hope she's still connected with us. There you go. All right, so the question coming from participant is, since we are adopting the new normal in education, what strategy can you share with us in order to provide a systematic method of monitoring and evaluating learning, facing the fact that there are some instances that some parents are the ones who tend to answer the modules of their kids? So what strategy can you share with us with that situation?
Yes, true enough. Because if we give children or the students the actual academic work, mostly almost more than half, the parents will nicely do it for the children. Of course, because this is, they are scared that the students or their children might get a very bad grade. So that's why from our school, especially my school, Fajaridaya, we don't give too much academics in the form of a formal assignment. So we ask them instead, like, do some cooking together with the parents, which involves some science, which involves some language in it, which involves some biology in it, you know. And then we will ask the children to describe by themselves what kind of vegetables that they are cooking, or what kind of spices, where is it from, how do they process it, you know, things like that. So from there on, we can see whether the answer is truly from the student itself or from the parents. Even though the parents help them to answer, but the understanding for the student is there, you know. The student really understand what they are doing, even though the parents are helping them, you know, like, oh, this is spinach. So immediately the student, the child itself will understand this is spinach. So then we know that now the student knows that is spinach. So this is the way that we use the technology or the technique of evaluating the students. Also, like if we said, okay, you can go with your parents to the supermarket. And then we said, okay, how much do you buy 1 kilo of potatoes? So this is going to be part of the math subject by the teachers. And one thing about it, of course, like Mr. Donji was saying, it is very important now for the teachers to be trained or well licensed. Because if they don't train, if they don't get the proper training, they cannot make evaluations easily by the activity of the students. So it is very important for the teachers to be able to evaluate every children's activities, even though they are sleeping, even though they are telling about they don't do anything today, they sleep, just by telling us the reason why they sleep and so is already we consider as the ability of their language, because they have to explain now, like writing a letters to the teachers. So this kind of thing, teachers must be very sensitive, and they must have a very highly technical know-how on this assessment. So you have to really well train how to assess your students, not just from giving them worksheet and then do the grading. Today, it is not applicable anymore. And one thing also, you must understand also, children also learn from the YouTube. They also learn from the TikTok. They also learn from the TikTok. So what, you know? And if they can make a TikTok so attractive that the other children or the other students also wanted to watch, that means, you know, there is something this child or this student have a skill. Now, you cannot make an attractive TikTok if you don't prepare well, if you don't study it well. So there is must be a knowledge there that we have to evaluate from the students. So teachers, be careful. You have to learn how to assess all these things, not just from the worksheet, not just from the homework. We don't consider that anymore. We don't take our grade from our students from the worksheet or from the homework that we given to them. We, even though their writing is so horrible, is so messy, as long as they do it themselves, that is what we consider. So this is my answer. I hope it answer well.
I couldn't agree more with you, I would.
So this time, let us give the yes, Sir Donji.
Yeah, to those teachers from this webinar, if you have personal questions to us, so you can, we will just leave our email addresses to the organizers so that we can answer you if you have any further questions related to the topics that being discussed.
Thank you so much for that, Sir Donji. So this time, let's give the spotlight to our speakers, Ibu Draga Rangkuti and Mr. Donji, to receive the certificate of appreciation to be awarded, of course, by our Dean, Dr. Pasag, and our Professor, Sir Virgo. May we have them given to Ibu Draga Rangkuti for imparting her valuable knowledge and expertise as speaker during our seminar, given this 24th day of April 2021 at Pan Pacific University, Urdaneta City. And of course, the same certificate is given also to Mr. Donji Bardos for gracing our event today. Okay, let's take this chance for a photo opportunity. Our technical team, ready? 1, 2, 3, smile. Okay. 1, 2, 3, smile. Our technical team, can you put only the speakers and Sir Virgo and Dean on spotlight for their photo up? Okay, smile. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. Okay, there we have it, ladies and gentlemen. And before they say they will say their goodbyes, may we have last words from Sir Ma'am Ibu Draga and of course Sir Donji.
Ivo, you first.
Okay. Thank you very much to everybody, and especially to Dr. Balita, and always inspire me every time, and also your team. Of course, Professor Virgo, I'm so proud of you, and you have been very excellent from the beginning, and I'm glad that Dr. Carl has a very strong team, and it's very, very beneficial to all of us in Indonesia. We share all these things to our teachers in Indonesia also, and then to other people, and then it's very inspiring, and hope that we can meet again and continue with many other speakers from many other countries. Thank you.
Okay, so first, also I would like to thank once again the organizers, Dr. Carl Balita, the Dean of Pan Pacific University, Sir Virgo. Thank you so much for inviting me to one of the discussant. I just want to say something to all the students or to all the participants here in this crisis, in this pandemic. As an educator, for me, I just want to take this a word from the University of New York, Doctor. I do not have forgot, but this is what the content is. Yes, we might think that COVID is a black swan, but behind that black swan, there's a beautiful message that the pandemic wants to send us to become an innovative educator in our own field. So to all educators and to all future managers and administrators in studying at Pan Pacific University, please do not close your windows and doors. Keep it open. Keep keep all the possibilities and make those negative things or the situation happens, turn it into positive, because yes, this is a proven and tested. We learn from those. That's all, and thank you so much. Kapkun kap, kapkun toko na kap.
Thank you so much, Sir Vardas, for that wonderful message. So, as this productive event comes to an end, may we hear some words from our ever supportive Dean of Pan Pacific University Graduate School, Dr. Engelbert Pasek.
Where did you get my picture? Okay. Thank you so much. It's been a wonderful morning. I'm extending up to lunchtime, but the discussion is actually very, very beautiful. I would like to thank from all the speakers, starting from Yusek Justado San Antonio, Imo Puti Draga Rangkuti, and Brother Mirdas. I know you're also playing at the back. Hello to you. Donji Bardos and Christina Bacolod Labrador. Maraming salamat sa inyo. I do not know how you feel that you're working right now in another country, but we are all in a pandemic, but we are all interconnected. But it's okay. If I may ask the audience, can you give us 1 or 2 words? Can you please comment? How do you feel right now? Can we see that on Facebook? 1 or 2 words lang po. Okay. Some said elated. Okay. Inspired, motivated, and inspired. Oh, thank you. Refreshed and hopeful, privileged, inspired, motivated. These are the words coming from our audience. Thankful. Maraming salamat sa inyo. Gainful knowledge. That's it. I mean, wow. Wow. Maraming salamat. Uh, from a very small dream of having a quality education, providing quality education to our stakeholders here in Pangasinan, we have been working, and we got an inspiration also from Dr. Carl to work together, especially in this time of pandemic, that we can learn from one another. There are many things that we can do so that we can change our world. And true enough, our speakers right now are telling us these are the things that you can do, little or even more. You can inspire people. We can be amazing as one big family. Monitoring is actually an evaluating. We are because monitoring and evaluation is being done because we wanted quality, and we are doing this so that we can also improve our craft. And we are doing it so that we can improve also how we can teach the students. But more important is something that we need from maybe one small happy kid to a big others. And true enough, we are doing it here now at Pan Pacific University in the Pan Pacific Graduate School together with the Carl Balita Executive Education. So we'd like to thank the powerful staff and professors of the CBE or Carl Balita Executive Education for putting all this together, and especially so to our students. Now, let me just give you a one last message. During this time of pandemic, and plug in also, during this time of pandemic, one big thing that we are suffering from is how can we pay? A lot of students already left their jobs because they wanted to take LET. So they don't have means to earn. Some of them also lost their jobs because some companies cut the cost, etc. So therefore, what shall we do? So we open up in Pan Pacific University a big opportunity for everyone, and we mean everyone, to enter into the graduate school, take courses and in basic education or in college, take courses here at Pan Pacific University. So therefore, we open up courses for guru, for teachers, for future teachers. If you have children, if you have people, if you have students who wanted to become teachers and they don't have money, tell them to come to Pan Pacific University. We will offer a free BSE, BE Ed, BPE, AB Psychology under our Romeo Padilla School of Education and Arts because we believe that all teachers or future teachers will have or so again, BSE, secondary education, elementary education, physical education, and maybe psychology. And Paul, if you have students who would like to become a policeman one day, tell them to come because we know our frontliners, the policemen, are actually there under the sun. Heat of the sun. And true enough, we are very inspired to share free tuition fee for our criminology students. And lastly, come and enroll at Pan Pacific University in our Carl Balita Executive Education, be it MBA, MPA, and then MAED, because you can have a graduate school now and pay later. You don't have to spend and you don't have to worry about wala akong pangbayad, wala kaming pera, wala kaming ganito. All you have to do is to come and join us so that you can also be empowered. As Dr. Balita said, remember 2020, 2021 as a time when you started graduate school. Do not remember that we are this 2 years or 3 years that we are all suffering from pandemic. But remember you should remember that these years are the best times when you started your and footstep towards attaining the graduate school. So thank you so much. And for all of you who have joined us on Facebook, maraming salamat. Maestra Facebook, Carl Balita's Facebook, and Dr. Carl Balita Facebook, and Pan Pacific U Facebook. We are over 700 a while back, and we are increasing this family. And in Pan Pacific University, why are we broadcasting our lessons? Because we wanted to share what is happening. We wanted if we are inspired, the students are inspired, let's just share this to others because good message should not be kept in the four corners of the university. It should be shared to others also. So maraming salamat. Thank you visiting us in the university or even our students, and we will all take photo together and we can hold one another. And we do hope and pray that will happen very soon. Again, salamat po.
Salamat. Wow, thank you so much, Dean. We hope to see you as well. And indeed, truly, this webinar event had given us all full of learning. I would say that this webinar is like a powerhouse of knowledge, as always. From our great speakers, full of wisdom, experiences, and knowledge. So you agree, partner?
Yes, I do agree with you, partner. So our heartfelt gratitude to our speakers who willingly accepted our invitation to shed light about our topic. Of course, Undersecretary Jasdaru M. San Antonio, Ibu Draga Rancuti, Sir Don Chi, who is still with us up to now, Ma'am Christina Bacolod Labrador. And also, the same goes with our director, Dr. Carl Balita, with our dean, Dr. Engelbert Pasag, and all our educators and participants that we have up to now. So there we have it, ladies and gentlemen. This is the ASEAN conversation, sharing of experiences and practices on monitoring and evaluation, brought to you by the EM 107 class of Pan Pacific University Graduate School. Thank you all, and mabuhay educators and learners.
Thank you,
For
everyone.
ขอบคุณครับ
yeah,
สวัสดีครับ
hope to see you soon, Sir Donji in
Yeah, hope to
Thailand.
see you soon. I will visit your school when COVID ends. Yeah, I will probably visit you there, Dean.
We will wait for you, Sir Donji. Mandraga, thank you so much. May we have on spotlight once again our speakers who are still with us, class EM 107 class, and of course, Sir Virgo for our photo op. Technical team, please. For all the EM 107 class, can you open your camera for a while? Okay, there we have it. 1, 2, 3, smile. 1, 2, 3, smile. Okay, thank you so much once again to all our participants who are here with us up to now. And take care, and we hope to see every one of us safe and sound in the future. Goodbye, educators.
God bless us.
Thank you, Dean, for the congratulations message.
Ma'am
Kabado naman po
Rizel?
kami sa una.
Ma'am Rizel, were we able to promote for the certificate for the participants just in case? Thank you, Dean, and thank you, everyone.
Thank you very much for everyone. Thank you.
Salamat CBRC Vice, salamat Dean and everyone.
Congratulations. Thank you so much, Virgo. Thanks, everyone.
Bye
Congrats,
po.
students.